apparently.
Wait.
That's good.
Are we?
I was never on
Yay.
time with this.
Dark Souls
we
2 was
are.
mentioned already. God
Oh,
damn
no.
it.
Yeah, by me.
DJ Beast is the version of our pursuer. He's relentlessly just going, Dark Souls 2, go away.
Who's the Dark Souls 2 of the Chaos Gods? That's the good question.
None of them,
I
because
couldn't
none of
tell
them
you.
are perfect.
Malice.
I'm going to say Nurgle.
Isha, fuck you.
Are we live? I don't, is it?
We are
Yes,
live.
we are, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. I didn't get a notification on my phone.
Oh man.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, it is live.
Oh,
Yes, we
hello,
are.
everybody.
We're... Hello, everyone.
God, DJ Beast, go away.
Welcome back to
It's
another
been
episode.
30
There's a dog on it. There's a dog.
This is the Iceberg Effect. We're talking about chaos corruption today. It's me, Hal, Eli, Andy, and Colin. Actually, have a proper intro this time.
PC
Podcast is
sheets.
also on Spotify as well, just for people who want to listen offline. And I mean, to be fair, we're going to get a bit heretical today. It's going to be a little bit. I mean, the Emperor's great, but you know, this is
Debatable.
these are the guys. You know, she told you not to worry about. This is the chaos, all kinds of chaos. A bit of fantasy lore here as well. Colin will hard represent
Yes.
the actual. I don't even know what to describe it. Like the absolute shilling, the copium of horned rat.
There's no copium, only his glory.
We are graced to be in his presence, whilst his children are beneath our walls. Or in our walls, sorry. Speaking of that, first though, we've got to do the question of the week. Eli, I think the last question of the week was to do with what would you shatter in Warhammer, I think. And Eli's chosen some answers from you beautiful people.
Yes, there were a lot of good comments. I chose like 5. Also, somebody said I see sheets 0 out of 10 for Colin's bed. That was funny. And Andy did change his home. It looks like. for
I
whoever
can't
said
help
that in
but
the
notice
chat.
that's not the question.
It's getting
of the week.
brighter. I've been here a while. I've been here a few months, but now it's bright. It's getting bright now. It's nice. Look,
Yeah.
sun. I like the sun.
Our house has slightly changed over time. I hope to get more posters, like to fill up the entire wall at one point. I do need one just of like each of you, just like a mug shot, just to fill the background.
That'd be fun. All right. So anyway, the question of the week was why would you shatter in 40K? First one is from our beloved DJ Beast, lore crime celebrity, red carpet if we ever
Living
meet
legend.
him. Hashtag shatter. I would chuck Nagash into 40K. Him entering causes a second better Eye of Terror to form as the galaxy now has to deal with the Great Necromancer, Death, the Undying King, the Black Harvester, Reaper Lord, Elder Bones, the Grave God, and Tyrant of Bones. For fantasy, I would clone Gotrek, since 2 Gotreks existing in one setting will cause a black hole, ending the setting faster than Archeon ever could. And I agree.
You
Also,
had me
Go ahead, Colin.
I'm a big fan of the first half of that sentence. That one.
You mentioned a lot of holes.
You did.
Just-
Bit of a Freudian slip there.
we got it.
No, he's a real one.
We have 2 donations from Zan0, $10. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And True Heresy is why you would deny Colin and Eli their Fortnite stream. Agree 100%.
Dude, yeah.
This guy speaks the truth. You're a real one. Bless you. Angry Leprechaun, $5. Thank you. Says, first time tuning in live. Zinch is the only Chaos God who can win the great game. He just chooses not to because he's a troll. Yeah, kind of
That
true.
first
Yeah,
donation
okay.
is average great horned rat worshipper.
Fortnite stream will exist someday.
You deny my PC its purpose.
Bro,
We're gonna DDoS Andy and Hal so that their games don't work, so that we can play Fortnite.
Why? I'm not that opposed to the idea. I'm just like, back in my day, we didn't have Goku in the game. We
I
had
remember
like
Fortnite
generic
starting
skins.
out when I was in uni. That's how
Yeah.
old I feel about that.
It was like 2016 or something, wasn't it?
It was
Oh
earlier
my
than
gosh.
that, maybe. I don't know.
It's called college.
8 years ago.
It's not called college.
Okay. Anyway, next question, or sorry, next comment was from My Green Gecko. Hashtag shatter. I would add consistent writing and quality control between writers. That would be amazing. That'd be-
Jesus,
that truly
mate.
would ruin
Shots
Warhammer.
Wow.
Now, next one from Mr. Idiot. For 40K, I'm throwing in Neil Breen. Neil Breen reference. I'm so pleased. I'm so happy somebody Neil Breen referenced. You would add in Neil Breen as one of the long lost forgotten Primarchs, and Tommy Wiseau as the second one.
Tommy Wiseau.
Oh my gosh, Neil Breen
Trying to
shout out.
I'm
Have you
trying to
guys
think
seen
of
any
some-
Neil Breen movies?
No.
I've only seen
Yeah.
Red Letter Media talking about how ridiculous they are, and so like,
Oh my
who am
gosh.
I? What am I? When am I? Like, there's some of the quotes. They're such a strange man.
Wasn't
Wasn't he like a guy who was an accountant and he has like a bunch of money? He's like, I'm gonna make films where I'm the protagonist and I
Yeah.
solve all the world's problem by murdering people. And there's
Yeah.
no self-awareness, and it's brilliant.
I think those two plus,
Oh my gosh.
weird enough, Gary Busey is like a trifecta of
The,
doing
the
Like,
Neil Breen lore runs deep, apparently.
Mm, yeah.
jeez.
I've only watched 1 or 2 Neil Breen movies, but the one I watched was about like ecology, being a environmentalist, and he's like
Yeah.
environmentalist Neil Breen Jesus, and he does like
Yeah.
miracles and he kills people, and there's like,
And he goes
oh
to
my
like
gosh, there's
Congress and he
cartel
tells them, "You're being bad people," and they go, "Oh, I am." And it's like, what? And people are crowdfunding him to make more films,
Yeah.
and he's like, "I'm a successful director and movie creator," and it's like,
You're
he's a
something.
hero.
he's
If you
He's
gave
making a
Tommy
profit, I assume.
why. If you gave Tommy Wiseau unlimited money, then that's pretty much Neil Breen, essentially, and like a god complex too, probably.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
I'm only remembering when he dressed up as the Joker and he went and just like yelled like, really, like, weirdly.
Oh
I'm
my
the
gosh.
Joker.
All right, I got 2 more comments, and I'll mention the donation we have. So next one is
Okay.
from the Wordna. He says Johnny Grammatarist. I can't even read it.
Grammaticus.
I know it's spelled different. It's spelled funny though. But
Oh.
Johnny Grammaticus, Grammartist. That's what he's saying. Okay, returns to 40k to lead the Imperium and be more important than every other named character in the setting combined. Thumbs up from me, buddy.
John
As a sh-
Grammaticus is the alpha legion of human beings.
Yeah.
And I don't like him.
One of the characters of all time.
Yeah,
He was in fact in Warhammer.
So then we
at
have
some
last
point.
one, Rarest Pepe, another classic, another celebrity. There's nothing I can think of that'll break any Warhammer setting quicker / better than GW's own writing. And there you go. So
enough.
true, King. Now our donation is from Core 6F6 for $1.99. Thank you very much. How about them reveals, fellas? Reveals are very cool. New
Ooh.
Gene Stealers are baller, and the dwarves looked pretty freaking epic.
Skaven trailer was real good. Would have been cool if there were some minis to go along with it. But I will take the fact they're being looked at and worked on.
If you
I'll
got an
live with it.
Eldar,
Such
if you got an Eldar
teasers.
trailer as well, would you literally like burst?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're-
would too. Like, holy cow!
Like-
And guys, next year will be Emperor's Children, guys. It's gonna happen next year. It's totally.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
And
sure.
this is the year, guys. This is even though it's been 10 years in a row. This is the year.
Yep. Bloodborne's coming out on PC too. Heard it here.
Elder Scrolls 6, Bloodborne, Emperor's Children.
Half-Life 3.
I was going to say
Even
Half-Life 3.
What are the
Oh,
other
gosh.
bangers? What are the other classics?
Oh,
Halo's gonna
updated
be good again,
Battlefront that
guys. This
works.
next Halo gun.
There will be an Elder Scrolls this year or something as well. so-
Can't-
Oh,
can't wait
Emperor's
for
Children
Batman
is
to
a
be in the
higher
Avengers.
chance than Halo being good. But, gosh, it's, what were you saying, Andy?
We got a donation, by the way, from Rolf
Thank you,
for
brother.
Thank you so
$10,
much.
saying, "I'm currently listening to Skaven Slayer,
Good
and the
book.
beautiful part where we hear of the time-honored tradition
Yes.
of unaliving the messenger. God bless
Beautiful.
Colin and his non-functional pancreas."
Do you think anyone else's pancreas has been talked about as much? Considering it's a
No.
branding thing as well.
No.
Maybe Steve
Oh, yeah.
Jobs.
Oh, fair enough.
All right.
Is that the last one, Eli?
Yeah. Do we have a next question of the week here?
I think we do. We didn't write
Should
down
we-
how you want to phrase this, but it was essentially want to ask is which chaos god would you let yourself be corrupted by?
Should we say
Bearing in mind,
hash-
go ahead.
should we say hashtag worship? So, like, which would you pledge your worship to of the Chaos
yeah.
Gods?
Hashtag worship. Again, give your reasoning. If you want to give a reason that's completely messed up, within reason, YouTube comments, obviously. I'm not going to
Yeah.
censor some things. You know, if you want to make it completely like ridiculous and funny, absolutely go for it. And I think with that being said, we're going to head straight on into chaos corruption.
But before
Oh,
we do,
oh, one more
we
thing.
got 2 more donations.
Oh God!
We got a $5 donation from Jeremy Golden. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy says, This is for Eli's Emperor's Children Codex. Stay strong, King.
Thank you. You've given me
Um,
another year's worth of willpower.
Yeah. And Rolf has donated another $5 saying, also, which Primarch will return next and why does Colin want it to be Russ?
I like Russ. I just hate his children.
Damn.
I want Jagatai because I feel like Jagatai is a fun one where he's not going to influence the setting too much. He's just going to do his own thing, and that'd be great. I
That's
just
my
want
kind
him
of-
back.
that's my
I just want
problem
my
with it.
dad. I want to see my dad.
They could also bring Korax back, and then they don't have to progress any storylines at all. So that'd be easy.
And they'll be ignored for the rest of the setting.
Donkey
And
Man
they have a cool
USA.
people model. Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
we
For
got-
the 5
thank you,
scenario
brother.
for Colin, you get one night with Marathi, but you have
Oh
to
my
wipe.
gosh.
You already have a yes. You have to wipe your ass with the Great Book of Grudges and every dwarf. No, I'm in.
That's a
So you
great.
get one night with
I'm in.
Morath, but
I'm
you
in.
die.
I'm in.
Oh my gosh.
You say that
I-
when you're hunted for the rest of your life.
Do we see
Doesn't matter.
Colin's
30 peaks.
comment? Do we see Colin's comment in the chat below Donkey Man's?
It's best
Wow.
to look
I'm not
at
even
that.
dignifying that by reading that out.
No.
Oh,
Thing is, you know what the
jeez.
first thing I thought of when it was like the idea of the reprisal. You know that meme of is it Kevin Hart in the woman's arms and she's going pointing and it's just Colin in Marathi's arms and she's pointing at the door like leave my boy alone.
Uh,
Leave my brother alone.
Hmm.
That being said, though, today is perhaps the false emperor, the emperor of mankind.
Leave it.
Disgusting
Leave
heresy. You know what I
Hate
mean?
him.
We hate that.
That's right,
We're
baby.
Cringe.
That's right.
I can't stand it because today we're talking about the true pantheons, the chaos gods, all chaos gods, and the corruption that spreads to you. So not just what the chaos gods are, but basically we're going to talk about how it affects you. We're going to start off here with Chaos Undivided. Now, this one might be a little bit shorter than the rest of them because it's kind of a bit generic, but Chaos Undivided is essentially exactly what it sounds like. It's all four of the main chaos gods, even in both the fantasy and the 40k setting. They are kind of a unified 8-pointed star that represents each god, and their corruption can be sort of boiled down to the general emotion of just the word like chaos itself. They are rebelling / against order and all that kind of jazz. They have something called the primordial truth, which I will kind of get more into the end. That could be a really long topic, but I'm going to sum up quite a lot at the end of this section, though. And their general corruption is more about the inevitability of chaos itself. You know, the corruption is its own kind of force, and they are pretty much talking about the collective emotions of sentient thought. They are the representation of basically everything that's wrong with us.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Alright.
Colin and his body pillows are.
I don't own any body pillows.
I'm sorry. Apologies.
Please be accurate.
Birthday present.
My please, all right. Well, I'm not going to say no. Free
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm not going to go into kind of all the history of each chaos gods because we're going to go through each of them at some point. We're all going to tackle kind of more of like our ones that we sort of align to. But there's just an interesting thing about all the chaos gods is they have this neutral meeting ground. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know if the rest of the boys remember the name of this like space. It's in the
I
warp. And
Don't suppose it's the
Skegness.
Forge of Souls.
might be similar to that. But there's essentially a meeting ground where it's just essentially the purest form of all chaos gods, and they all get to meet together, have a bit of tea, and
High World Birmingham.
yeah, they pretty much just all. That's the only kind of point in their history. Well, the warp obviously doesn't really act like a normal timeline, but that's sort of where chaos is unified into one thing, and they basically make a plan. You know, the Emperor, that guy's kind of, we don't like him. We're gonna bend him over and try and enter. Don't know why I went that way with it.
Yeah, this is what?
Yeah, that's more Eli's thing with Slanesh later. The general like effect of the chaos, like general undivided chaos corruption. You can often your skin will like grey. You can grow like horns and things. Everyone who's played Elden Ring and there's like the omen kind is the ones where they're covered in horns. The foul omen, I think, sort of similar to that. Often people get like gross and things. I think it's the who's the Elden Ring bosses who like they're covered in. There's
Oh, yeah, the
Morgoth
omens.
and the omens and like that. That's like a kind of good example of like how like a normal average
That's what
like
it can
human
do
size
to
would
you.
look. The dude is horny in the wrong way, and their skin Andy hasn't played Elden Ring. Apologies for the terrible reference
I
there.
haven't played it either.
Oh, pain.
Sorry.
Warp energy around people, like just being corrupted by chaos, it sort of ruins everything around you. Like things rust, the ground gets permeated, and just the general sense is sort of, it's almost acts like pollution in a way. I was going to make a joke about my UK government polluting recently. There's like a whole thing about them. I don't want to say that. That'll really age this podcast at the time. And they're also sort of, from a mental side of it, these people are mad. They're straight up crazy, and they are enslaved to the general will of these chaos gods. Sort of, they embrace the worst emotions of each aspect of these gods, and they are obsessed with something called the primordial truth. I will get into this now. So just finishing on here with Undivided, an example of undivided corruption is good old disgusting rat being Lorgar. Sorry, I think I have a donation here by Angry Leprechaun. Thank you, brother. It says Vashor needs to ascend to godhood and bring Percy and the Iron Warriors into the fold. R.I.P. Materium and Immaterium. They're kind of a Vashor's a weird example. Like like a dark Mechanicum twist to that character, and he's quite interesting, like visually. I don't know what they're gonna. Well, as a time recalling, they've not. He's like, I'm a threat, but I've not done anything really bad yet.
He mugged the Dark Angels, and that was kind of it.
We enjoyed that as well. So
It
I'm
was
going to
funny.
put this up if I see a donation, just so you can be like, oh,
Look.
So the story example, just like a brief finishing on Undivided here, is good old, as I was saying, Ratbag, Lorgar, Aurelian. I hate this guy the most in Warhammer.
How dare you?
Yeah. Sorry. Actually, we're going to talk about rats later, so I should exalt the rat. This guy doesn't even deserve to be a rat. This is the scum of the earth. And Lorgar's obviously the Primarch of the Wordbearers, and his general story is when he was journeying with the demon Ingethel, who, in the book, that thing is disgusting. Just like they even say, like, it's not a Nurgle demon, but like the smell of it is horrific, and I like that part. Some reason. Ingethel guides Lorgar through his pilgrimage through the warp. He basically shows him the history of the universe. Well, a quote-unquote chaos version of the history of the universe. An avatar of Cain gets beaten down. Sorry, Colin. He just deserves it. He shows the fall of the Eldar. Eventually, like the Eldar get like erased in like a massive wave of flesh. It's pretty disgusting. And then he starts to explain what the primordial truth is. The primordial truth is essentially the unknowing / universal truth about how sentient life creates the chaos gods, because all our emotions ripple in the warp, and this essentially creates them, and we have like sort of a symbiotic relationship with them. They sort of explain as well like our emotions in our purest form, so like anger, ambition, life, or stagnation or sensuality, things like that. They are essentially they're the best parts of ourselves, and we should embrace those to like the truest level. They also want to preach that extreme emotion is essentially the best form of worship ever, and accepting this inevitable truth that humans should have a symbiotic relationship with chaos and allow to be like binded with demons. This is like the primordial truth, and that's kind of undivided corruption. Some characters as well, like another Thor thing is like Abaddon is kind of corrupted by chaos, but he just, again, they're quite generic, unfortunately, from a perspective in lore. So they kind of approach corruption more from like a philosophical perspective.
It's the standard.
Yeah, they're like the this is the pasta, and then all the other things are going to be sauce. So I think going up next that will be Colin. Colin's going to mention something.
Speaking of sauce.
Speaking of something horrific sauce. Go ahead, Colin.
Good old Nurgle. Grandfather Nurgle, Papa Nurgle, the universe's sweatiest armpit. It is gross. He smells. What's he all about? Pardon me, I'm pulling back up the little thing I'm following. I was going to say he's about being the worst. That's not fair. I'm doing the Horde Rat. I can't have that and then tell you Nurgle's the worst. I'm not a fan of Nurgle. I'm going to be real. I do not appreciate Nurgle followers. No small amount, in part because of Darktide ruining my runs, but that is what it is.
Aw.
He's in some ways he's a nature god because he's the god of life, but he's that in the way cancer is life. His followers like to gaslight people into thinking he's a god of love, which he is a god of love, but what is it, quote, Isander and
Grandfather
Coda.
loves you.
Yeah, quote, Isander and Coda. My mom has yet to give me, Ebola, and she loves me. So, not sure about Nurgle's love. Don't think I want any of that.
Oh gosh.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's,
quote.
it's definitely a toxic relationship when you're with Nurgle.
Yeah.
Quote of the day.
His creation in fantasy, all the Chaos Gods just kind of always been there. None of them have a specific date. I believe in 40K it was do fact check me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was roughly humanity's Middle Ages, around the time of the Black Death.
Theoretically.
And as with the other 4 gods, the war in heaven allowed the conditions for him to be formed. Then a couple million years go by, and he finally pops out around the time we're dealing with plagues all over the place. Pardon me, I'm getting a cold. As he
Nurgle's blessings are helping him, right?
yeah, Nurgle's
Yeah,
blessings
yeah,
really are
Nurgle's
coming in
blessings.
clutch right now.
Yeah.
It's not
When it
great.
gets to me, I'm just going to be frothing at the mouth. I'm like, come on.
This is why. This is. He loves you.
But yeah, so he's entropy, decay, the circle of life, only in the most disgusting way there is. That's what Nurgle's about. He's corruption. It can be. It's usually, at least I've always felt, it's a slower thing. It's a bit of a slower burn. Like he usually goes after people who they've fallen to despair and not really got much going for them. And, you hear a little voice that says, "Hey man, just take a load off. Everything's gonna be all right."
Don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll give you a new life. We'll make you reborn. And then Typhus said, just going,
Yeah,
flies here. And then it's like, goes from this to then just like intestines and
Yeah,
pus.
like
I have a question. Is the
Yes.
litmus test like you can no longer smell the horrific diarrhea or something?
Oh, it's just
yeah,
that
when
scene
you're
where
sitting there
Mortarion
shitting your
walks-
pants, you don't notice
Oh, man.
anymore.
It's just that scene where Mortarion meets with Horus before they invade Terra, and literally all the sons of Horus, other than Abaddon, are just like, and they're just like being sick in their own helmets. They're like, ugh.
It literally is that
Cheeky.
video of the kid go like the mum cooking, and then the kid goes, "Oh, it smells like shit." And the mum's like,
Yeah.
"No, it doesn't."
Or is that scene in Metalocalypse, obscure reference, it's just like, oh, we're gonna have a puke tidal wave where like one of them pukes and then they all start puking.
Oh,
And then he's like, oh, blood
Oh,
puke.
God.
it's like that.
That'll
What is
be a
it?
great name for a song. Oh, we did blood puke. Oh.
Or like what that scene in the? Do you guys ever see The Sandlot?
No.
No.
No, a movie only I have seen. Holy shit!
Have
I've seen, like,
Have you
only
seen
happen.
Dune?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay.
I
We're
haven't
getting
seen
better.
the
We're
first
getting
one.
better.
Lisan Al Gaib.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, buddy.
As written.
I've
So you
seen.
can so you can no longer smell diarrhea as written.
Yeah. I'm the Lisan Al Gaib of shit. Pardon me. Donkey Man USA. Thanks for the
Thank you.
$5. A choice
Thank you.
for cow. Should there have 10 new well-written Eldar books or Dark Souls 2 to create the sequel?
Dark Souls in a tutu.
We already have that. That's just Elden Ring. Elden Ring is Dark Souls 2 too.
Mm,
Or do you have Dark Souls 2, but with the lighting they showed off in the trailer?
I don't care about that. I think
does
the game
the
looks
DLC
fine.
count
The
as a
people,
second-
the people who say that game looks bad are psychotic. It
Surely
doesn't look
Dark
like
Souls-
like a medieval fucking Renaissance painting come to life. It's a good looking game. Calm down.
It's just a bit clunky. That's my only problem with it.
I'm saying I'm the one who needs to calm down. I'm getting heated. I'm not doing corn. I'm trying to do Nurgle. I'm talking about Miyazaki's Poisonous Swamps right now.
Blight Town. Yay!
The was
But-
it Poxwalkers as well? Like they are a perfect example for
Yeah,
the
like,
corruption.
And it can happen in a couple different ways. Like the slow way, like I was saying earlier, it's like, little voices in your head, like, hey, just, you're perfect the way you are. Calm down. Don't worry about that stain on your shirt. It's fine. You only need to shower once a month. It's all right. Which, it slowly transitions into
Don't
getting
fix
more
your sleep schedule.
disgusting and all right, well, hang on. That's not Nurgle. That's just me being abominable.
But also, it's that whole thing of like, oh, my back hurts. My back hurts. Oh, don't worry, that gets better. Oh, I'm not feeling the pain anymore. Oh, it's like, oh, where's my spine? It's like, yeah, see,
Yeah,
it's an
but
improvement. Promise.
it can also be Typhus's plague pleat. Shows up out of nowhere and dumps
Yeah.
feces
I'm
all over your
lonely,
planet.
and then you've got like an entire hive of. I didn't mean this, Dad, grandfather. I didn't want these kind of friends. They buzz
Yeah.
around, they make noise. Ugh.
Then suddenly it's instant hive of plague bearers.
Yeah.
It's usually, given the status of especially the Imperium, a lot of people kind of full of despair. Nurgle generally does not have that hard of a time getting himself some followers, given how miserable conditions are in the Imperium and 40k in general. A lot of
They're also
people
quite-
end up turning to him.
They're also quite light-hearted to a strange degree.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? There's an image I've seen recently of a guy who did an animation of a plague marine, and there's just like this little nurgling in his guts, just kind of like rocking back and forth. He's like, "I'm having a great
Yeah.
time." You're like,
Yeah.
"Huh?
Like,
That's weird."
9 out of 10, like pictures of his great unclean ones, his greater demons. They're having a great time. They're laughing. They're
They have this
smiling.
big goofy smile, like, yeah.
Andy, I
Having
made
fun.
a lore crimes lore accurate chaos grid. If you want to pull that up. In the
I think
desert.
also wasn't it? I think with the whole despair, people
They're lighting
find
my
it
ass up in the chat again.
people find it weird with like the whole like why is Nurgle despair but they're also happy. I think is it meant to be like they're so full of despair like it goes full circle into like the
It's-
sort of mad like happiness because there's nothing to live for, so they kind of
It's-
go like yay.
It's like you've just accepted I've hit rock bottom. I'm part of Nurgle's family now. He's gonna take care of me, and everything will be okay. It's like well, you already hit bottom. You might as well enjoy your time there.
And then it gets worse with disease and pus. Ugh.
But you
God.
don't feel any of it, so who cares really?
Yeah, I mean that's like
just seeing that
honestly
picture. That's brilliant.
honestly, I would worship Nurgle just because you don't like, even though you're covered in disease, like gross pus and maggots are falling out of like your ears or whatever.
Yeah.
You just feel amazing. You're just like, I just need my spa treatment. So
Yeah.
you don't really feel it. That's the kind of the benefit of that corruption. Really, is like it's just positive for
Yeah.
you on the other end.
Mhm.
His,
Apart from, okay, sorry.
oh, sorry, no, I was.
Oh no, I was just finishing up. I was waffling.
Oh, my bad. No worries. His realm in the warp is the Garden of Nurgle, which, for a god of rot and decay and the never-ending entropy of life, it looks probably about as you're imagining. Rotten forests, plains, rivers of pus. Man, that's disgusting to think about.
Ugh.
It sucks. It's gross there. Every now and then you can find Eldar statues of crystallized Eldar who tried to save their goddess and did not work out so well. I have some locations listed. There's the mansion of Nurgle. You can even see it in Total Warhammer. I think you fight in front of it in the campaign quest battles that no one plays because they're horrible. It's where he lives personally. There's, what is it? I just like this one. The Hanging Gardens of Thus Bolg. In honor of the great unclean one, Thus Bolg, who used his own intestines to hang orcs.
God,
Which I'm
Nice.
a big fan of that
Very
one.
nice.
that kind of
And
goes
then
hard.
and then they were finished. They did that. What's the game where you hop over the rope with like it's just and then they did
jump
that.
rope.
Hops,
Jump
yeah.
rope.
Then they played hopscotch afterwards. Like we've won the battle. Whee!
It's
God, it
yeah.
smells awful. I'm just sorry, it just smells like shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolute rank.
Filthiest.
But yeah,
Hey.
it's nasty.
The worst. The
And
worst.
yeah, it sucks there. And then at the center of the his realm lies he's got his cauldron where he makes all his disgusting stuff, and there's also, depending on the setting, one of two goddesses stuck in a cage. In 40k we have Isha, the Eldar life goddess, and in fantasy we have Shalea, who's a same sort of healing goddess, just human. He since they're goddesses, they can handle what he's throwing at them. What the fuck is this?
Oh, no.
It's real and true. You know it.
Who made the image in the Discord, by the way? Is that DJ?
That was, I was just making that now.
Farting on my roommate's door.
The amount of times I've heard you talk about that video.
Yes. It's been a couple of months. If anyone here has not seen, type it into YouTube right now, farting on my roommate's door. That is Nurgle.
Hal's favorite video in all of existence.
Yeah. But, in 40K, Isha's just been there forever. And probably never getting out. We will never have free Isha. We will never have that. In fantasy, in the end times, they did break out Shalea and replaced her with some random priestess. So
Damn.
I think it's safe to assume she's very dead. By the time of Age of Sigmar, Nurgle no longer has his jar person. And
They kind of got a thing with insects, don't they, as well? Like Nurgle's got
They do.
Yeah, there's a bit of an
Well, it's because
insect theme.
they're gross and disgusting. So, he's got rot flies, the little plague drones. Flies is a real
Mortarian's
big one.
wings.
Mortarians, moth wings.
Yeah.
Flies are a big one. There's moths too. Not anything, and really anything. Just the takeaway. Anything gross you can find in Nurgle's realm.
Yeah, you don't get gross. You only get gross. You don't get like, oh, there's a Death Guard ladybird. It's like, no, you don't get nice insects. You get the ones that it's like that's the rules. You can't have a nice one.
So you won't get a beautiful butterfly. You'll get butterfly wings that are purple and green and pus and yellow, and they suck.
And the wings always have holes in them because of the aesthetic.
And they have those like worms. If anyone sees it, Kong Skull Island, the one with the worms.
Oh
in that,
God,
like, tree.
yeah. Oh, horrifying.
Did anyone else get terrified about that when they were young? They were like, and they saw the guy's head get.
It's a King Kong movie. I'm not expecting whatever that was.
God, that freaked me out.
And then just a little story example. I took a story, not a character. Wanted to talk about the Eldar going to try and free Isha. So there was a craft world.
There's a fart. Wait, what?
I was going to say Farseer because
There's a fart.
I cut halfway through. All right, look, it could have been
Was it
better.
on the door?
There was a
Door.
fart
Shut
in
up.
the Garden of Nurgle.
But there was a craft world that was under attack, or not under attack, but suffering from some of Nurgle's plagues that he likes to share with the world. And they heard tales that Isha was stuck in his garden, so they got their best, brightest Farseers and projected themselves into his garden. Now they showed up. They're creeping through, trying to America their way through the Vietnamese jungles that is Nurgle's garden. When they are eventually spotted, and for days straight are under just constant assault by Nurgle's forces. They burn them away with warp fire. More come. Same, repeat this for a few days. The whole time, their bodies in the real world are suffering from Nurgle's plagues, kind of weakening them in the warp. And eventually this reaches a point where their souls are fully cut off from their bodies. So their mortal bodies die, their souls are now trapped in the Garden of Nurgle, and without any connection to reality to anchor them, they are turned by Nurgle himself into living trees in his garden that he likes to walk down every now and then and enjoy the horrible wailing coming out of them. And it is said that Isha looks at them and weeps for her children.
Jesus.
So for all of those who think Nurgle's a fun, happy dude, no, he is not.
Or there's that one scene in the Plague Wars trilogy where there's like I think he's like a dock worker, like senior guy, and the Death Guard just watch this guy like fold in on himself, and like all his skin spills out, and then it like reforms, and he's just like basically rotting and then regenerating and rotting and regenerating, and he's just like kill me, and you're like, no thanks, not a fan of that. No.
Typhus just stands over him, jealous, being like, "You're so blessed." Meanwhile, he inverts anus for
yeah. Typhus is literally just there, just being like, cool.
It's like you
phone,
It's like you pulled him out like a sock, like inside out.
And it's like, it says it weird, like his body bloats first, and then like pus and maggots are coming out, and then it just shrinks, and then it's to the point where like his bones start cracking, and his skin is like all dried up and diseased, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah,
Jeez,
there,
what a hell of a
there
story.
was
though.
Nurgle. It's he's. I like to think he's nice by the standards of the other three Chaos Gods,
'Cause,
which is not a high bar.
Because speaking of something that's gonna really, well, I was gonna say rub people the wrong way.
Bruh.
Eli's gonna talk about Slanesh now. Slanesh.
Best
Give me the
Chaos
chat
God for real.
Slanesh.
First, we have a donation though from Diacon,
Thank you,
something
brother.
like that.
Thank you.
Thank you for the $9.99.
Thank
Joined
you.
the stream late and restarted it. Hello from the past. Question for all of you: what would be something that each of you would like to see happen in 40k that would cause significant change? Clone Fulgrim, come back, please, please. And he can lead those Primaris Marines that are definitely Emperor's children.
It's never gonna happen. I just hate
I know
that.
it's never gonna
I hate
happen,
it.
but I can say it.
I think the main thing will be finding out what the Tyranids are running from, and it just happens to be the Skaven. Like,
More Tyranids.
we thought things were bad now, and then it's just like that wave of them invading on all sides is actually supported by an even larger wave outside of that of Skaven just going, Tyranids, yes, yes. Nom, 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 nom.
I think I would like almost like an equivalent of how like the Horus Heresy itself was more of a novel exploration rather than what we have in 40k, which is it's a campaign book that then is essentially supplemented with models and like lore books are added onto it to sort of enhance the campaign thing. I'd rather just have a thing where like this is just straight up like a lore journey. Like again, like we lore people over here. We just want lore stuff, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily always have to have a model with my Warhammer thing. It's nice, but you know
That is pretty much what they did with the Bad Ab War back
Give
in
me
the day.
model.
it's not a novel form.
No, it's not. I
Yeah.
wish they had Bad Ab War novels. I can't believe they still don't. But
Yeah, it's an easy dub.
This is the Games Workshop moment. I don't know what you
They've
want.
got, what's it? Is it
Yeah.
called Imperial Armor? They've got a couple of those, which kind
Yeah.
of are like books
one,
about
no,
the
you
dad,
can't
but
actually
it's-
see it.
What about what are you, Colin?
What?
What would you want changed?
Just about.
Oh, there's a lot there. There's a lot to that question.
I'm sorry, just in general.
No, as in like the donation was what would you add to the set
Oh,
to change
pardon
it?
me.
Yeah.
I missed the donation, so I got really confused for the last 30 seconds. Just kill a Primarch in 40k. I don't care who. Just get rid of one of them permanently.
Real and true, actually.
Oh,
real and true.
could you
Straight up.
imagine
Yeah.
like Korax coming back and he's like, "I'm back, everyone," and he dies in the same book.
Dude, I
I
would.
mean, yeah.
Look at this
go ahead.
model. You got the Grot Kamikaze pilot. Is that not the best model you've ever seen? Oh my
Love
God.
it.
Commando, thank you for welcome to Lore Criminal. I'd like to change my answer. Kill all Primarchs that aren't Gilliman. Get rid of them. Kill the mortal ones and turn
gosh.
put the demon ones all in one of Trajan's Tesseract labyrinths.
I'd honestly kill. I'd have Korax and Lorgar kill each other.
I hate Primarchs.
Like it's the same result, if you know what I mean. So
Let's bring all the Primarchs back to the 41st millennium. You know, all those characters we've been building up for 30 years in real life, they don't matter anymore because their dads are back.
I think Luton was right. Let Dawn be dead. Let Dawn
Yeah.
stay
Oh, here we
dead.
go.
Let all of them be dead.
Yeah,
Could
it was
have
cool when
Valrak
they're
having a
just
go
like
at
a
some
myth
comments
and in
next.
legend and stuff. I agree.
Yeah, now
Also,
no one
bad
cares
stuff
about
also.
Marnius Calgar because fucking Gilliman's right there. Why would I care
Gilliman
about
is
Marnius
cool though. To be
Calgar?
fair, Gilliman.
Yeah, I like Gilliman a lot. I don't like the fact that every Marine is now irrelevant if Gilliman is involved in any way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
fair.
So,
That really grinds our gears, but something that's going to make our gears do something a bit more naughtier than grinding. Eli's going to mention
What are we on
Are you
about?
saying that Eli's going to
It's
lubricate our
Slanesh.
gears? What's going on? What's going on?
it is Slanesh. With the
We need an adult.
we do need an
alright,
adult.
yeah, I'm getting distracted by all these cool old models. Slanesh. Oh, Slanesh is the youngest Chaos God, who, as we know, was born from the Eldar's debauchery. The Eldar got so deviant and insane that they made their own Chaos God, and it killed virtually the entire race. We also have a donation from Inaugural 1992 for $4.99. Thank you very much. As a fantasy lover, Order tied all the
Yes.
way. Zinch is the best. He actually
Yes.
screws Chaos, keep things going. The only redeemable Chaos God. If you say so. If you say,
Yes.
I'm not a
No.
Zinch. I'm not a Zinch guy personally, but
He sucks.
anyways, Slanesh
Sorry,
is the
he-
youngest Chaos God, which is the only justifiable reason on why she's not the most powerful one because with the like she's the god of excess and pleasure and perfection and all things that feel nice and all things that feel bad. So basically everything, which it would make sense that she would be the most powerful chaos god because all the other chaos gods are their own aspects but in excess. So, like Khorne is excessive violence and murder and hatred, and Nurgle is excessive sickness and disease and like blissful ignorance. These are all Slaaneshi type things. So, in my opinion, she should probably be the strongest chaos god. And Keeper Secrets are very Zinchi like as well. So I don't know. But anyways, following Slaanesh usually it starts out pretty slow. Like you could go from a few angles. So if like take the Emperor's Children Legion for example, they are obsessed with achieving perfection. And I mean, to be fair, they probably wouldn't have fallen to Slaanesh if Fulgrim didn't pick up a sword. But regardless of that, they follow perfection so far that eventually leads to Slaanesh because she kind of gives you the idea and the temptation that you can find perfection in her. But in reality, you get down the line and you realize you've damned your soul to eternal torment, and that this perfection is something completely different. But by the time you're corrupted, you see the Slaaneshi corruption as real perfection, and it's just the ever chasing idea of perfection, trying to get there, even though you never will. Slaanesh also brings a lot of pleasure, so it starts out pretty normal. Take your little pre-workout to the gym, but then the more you take there's a donation. Sand Zero donation, thank you very much for $5.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, Colin, for that recent stream. Soulblight gonna be first AOS army.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
Nice.
at this point, is someone going to blame you for making irresponsible financial choices?
I am not held responsible for what other people do with their money.
I'm a fan of irresponsible Warhammer purchases, personally.
Also that, yes. Big fan.
I maybe might have thought I need to get my World Eaters army a little bit beefier, and so therefore he didn't want to buy Angron, so he bought Usharan, and then he thought he needed wings to make him a little bit more like an actual Demon Primarch look. So then he also bought the Demon Prince model just so he could take the wings from there and put it on.
All right, halfway acceptable. Now just get him to actually play Flesh Eater Courts, and it'll all be good.
Maybe.
Oh man, I want to buy the. We gotta stop talking about this before I make more purchases. So basically, you start taking you take your pre-workout for the gym, right? And then it's okay, it's pretty good at first, but then it starts to not work as well. So you buy a new pre-workout, and this is it's a little bit more intense. And you go all the way down the line, and essentially you're taking meth before every workout, and you're insane. And that's pretty much Slaanesh. And but eventually the meth doesn't hit either, so you have to take super meth with chaos dust and human beings blended into it. And so
and like a dozen cheeseburgers,
it's a pursuit of pleasure, and Slaanesh often blesses her servants with more ways to experience pleasure. So at first, like, there's all these new experiences and it's just wonderful, but then they dull over time, just like any addiction in real life. Things dull over time, so you need more and more and more and more, till eventually you're mutilating yourself and you're surgically altering yourself so that you can hear sounds louder and that you can see wacky colors, and you're adorning yourself in like colors that hurt to look at. You're reaching
Colors
new heights of
to look at. Wow.
Yeah, that's a like classic thing in the books where it's like Slaanesh Marines that they hurt to look at. It's so like intense.
It's like there's
Noise Marines.
I regularly go through King's Cross, and outside of the station in the car park, most days there's this pink sports car that's just parked there, and I pass it most days. I'm like, that hurts to look at. It's like that, but worse.
It hurts if it's a Ferrari and it's not red.
It's one of those like sleek ones. It's just like it's like fluorescent pink.
Ferrari actually has a you can't change the color of your Ferrari. I'm pretty sure that's like an actual, or they'll
It's a crime.
sue you or something.
What do you mean they'll sue me? It's my Ferrari.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. We do have a donation here by Jeremy Golden. He says, to everyone, what's your favorite Chaos unit, tabletop or not? Eli, do you want to start off with
that? Noise Marines have always been my favorite. Their models have been crying and lacking out, reaching out for an update for the last 10 years. But it's coming, guys. I swear, guys. This next year, it's gonna be there. But
This is gonna be such a weird pick, but I like Chaos Spawns.
I can respect
yeah.
that. I really like them too.
But like the Vermintide version's not the current model.
Well, yeah,
Like,
no,
and,
like
the old
yeah,
art as well.
Vermintide, Old Art, and Total War. The model for them is kind of whatever. Good for its
Mhm.
time. Has not aged too good.
What about you, Andy? Andy?
What's that? Is
Here
it the
he is.
Lord of
Alright.
Skull? That gigantic.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah,
right.
with the
That's
dick
my
cannon.
favorite.
That's fun.
I need to get one of those. That's the last piece of my army because it's like 430 points or something. My God, I need that. So
Imagine you're
bad.
playing a match and all of a sudden it's like, I've almost routed Hal's forces, and you just go, be that.
I saw it. To be fair, I was looking up like what's good for like a World Eaters list, and there's a guy who says you run 3 Lord of Skulls, and so you basically have
Yeah.
that, and the rest of it is just like fodder, and you basically just because they just sit on point and they ruin your bank and your time. Another donation.
Thank you very much.
By Baneblade. Thank you, brother. Slanesh, the Chaos God of Jars. Oh
Yeah.
no. No.
Also, the gaming storyteller says he loves the Defiler model. I agree. It is an incredible model. Also, if you remember Deafy from Mini Wargaming, shout out to that. My childhood right there.
Also, Zan0 says, how much for an Andy metal playlist for 40k? Is that something like me just making a playlist of songs I know?
I think because of the mask, they
Just-
might give the. It's
Ah.
like they thought maybe it's like a Slipknot.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
Just put on Glory Hammer, and there you go.
Yeah.
to be
true.
fair, I've always, in the wee hours, fantasized about making a 40k themed metal album. I have ideas, but I'm
Well,
not
there's a
very
band
good
called
at playing.
Corn that
Yeah, there's also
knows
like
that they're.
there's another one that has like a guy do the artwork who did the artwork
There's-
for classic Warhammer, and their songs are about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're Bolt Thrower is what they're called.
My favorite unit is Possessed, just because I like
Nice.
World Eater, Word Bearer models looking crazy, basically.
we have a message from DJ Beast that is not a nice memory, but he says Slanesh 2 Demonettes 1 Cup.
Oh
Ah,
god!
you
no!
fucking rat!
As a
Get him
Slanesh
away.
You know how many years
Nurgle.
Get him out of here. Thought of
Get him
that?
out of here.
Yeah.
God,
I've never seen the video.
bastard.
I'm so blessed.
I
that I've
haven't
never seen
either,
the
but I
video.
know
Now
what
I'm
it
thinking of the
is.
screwdriver as
Yeah,
well.
I've
No,
seen
I
a
don't want to
ton
know what
of-
that is. Shut up.
I've seen a ton of those T-shirts taking the mick out of it. It's just like, oh, you know,
Hello, the
yeah.
gaming storyteller.
Oh,
Oh, good. He's here for fucking 2 Demonettes 1 Cup too.
Yeah, he's been here a while.
Oh,
We need to have you
Nurgle
on,
and
brother. We
Slanesh
need to have you
collab.
on.
Oh, we have another donation
Oh
from
my
Man
God.
for $4.99. Thank you.
Jeez, thank
I
you
got into
for this.
40k after I watched Luke Skywalker. Oh my gosh, Drake Titty Milk. Love the Grim Dark.
Dude, if that
What does
was
that mean?
That's
I
not
know exactly what
the
it
canon.
rise
means.
from the
Yeah.
from the 8th movie. I don't remember the name of it. I try not
That's
to.
not canon.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
drinks
yeah,
the
yeah,
blue
yeah. You're
things,
right.
the
Yeah.
It's
fucking blue
more.
milk.
It's more.
I don't want to think about this.
Honestly,
Star Wars
he's
movies.
kind of low key right. A lot of us like shut off at that point. So.
Dude,
Yeah.
if that was a towel,
Oh.
Yeah, but like, you don't
Shush you.
say when
Shush
you
you.
drink, you don't think, but you don't drink when you drink cow's milk. You don't
Oh
call
my
it
gosh.
titty milk. You just call it
Yeah.
milk.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bit wild to go like just have my animal titty milk in the morning.
When you're drinking almond milk, you don't call it nut juice. You call it almond milk.
Well, I guess Slanesh would be right up that alley though. I think continuing on, Eli.
There's a question just that I can answer. I guess he says, "What music do you think the Necrons would listen to if they were coherent or narcissistic enough?" They do have music. They're just really terrible at it, and it's like in the book, the guy had a composer of music, and I think Voltix
Yeah.
described it as like metal clanging against each other and
Yeah,
people
it's like
screaming.
we aren't known
Like, it was
for our
just
music.
terrible.
I feel
Even-
like
yeah,
they'd
even
be fans
before
of
the-
Rammstein, though.
Even in the time of Flesh, they were really bad at. The only art that they're good at is art that glorifies the dynast, essentially. So like big statues and paintings,
Yeah.
they're really good at, but everything else they suck at.
Yeah, the only kind of thing they'd be into in our music archive would be like Norwegian black metal, where it's just people just go, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is great. This sounds amazing."
But anyways, yeah, back to Slanesh. Slanesh is not just the god of like sex and drugs and yada yada that everyone kind of memes about it, but it is the true like path to perfection and passion. So like pursuing poetry and music and bodily improvements. There's all things that can lead to Slaanesh. She's kind of all the aspects. She's pride and lust and vanity and greed and gluttony all at the same time. She's the most like multi-dimensional chaos god that isn't
Yeah.
just one trick, in my opinion. Although GW usually doesn't do a great job at actually, giving that
And
justice.
it is kind of in keeping with the idea of like, oh, I'm not just going to pick one thing. I have all these things I want to explore.
Excess. Yeah.
Excess. There you go.
Yeah.
Can I go on a small rant?
Yes.
Always.
There are two of the most infuriating to me subsects of people in the hobby. You have the one end who go, Slaanesh is only sex and fucking porn and that and that.
Mm.
And then you have the other group of people that goes, if you so much as think of a titty, you don't actually know what Slaanesh is about. And I'm like, you're both fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's both. It's everything in excess.
Slaanesh is all encompassing.
Yeah.
Which is why she
Yeah.
should be the strongest chaos god.
It's you can have all that stuff, but it's probably also going to involve a car battery, a pizza cutter, and
Yeah.
all sorts of other things that you're like, oh, that's weird. But
And a
also,
political debate live. Like it's
Well, streaming.
two donations here. Two
Well,
donations.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
One by Baneblade says Necrons exclusively listen to Super Ghostbusters.
Don't know
What
that.
is
I don't know. Don't ever want to look that up. I'm getting it.
Hmm.
Another one by Anarian Targaryen. He says, "Hello guys, keep doing your work. Thank you, brother. I find it weird that there isn't a creation and destruction god. In Nurgle doesn't count. He is rot. Colin, your bed.
what happened at the end of that sentence?
It just full stop. It is full stop.
Catching
Colin, your
strays
bed,
every
full stop.
day.
I mean, corn's
Oh,
kind of destruction.
Jesus.
Oh,
And then the
man.
katana more like that. The katana.
Yeah, and
Very
Malice is very destructive.
We'll get
Which,
onto that later. though.
I'm talking about Malice. Nobody can stop me.
Harry, I think
But
the main
in
character.
the old ones,
Oh.
I was just
Sorry,
say the
what's-
old ones allegedly created everything, but it's kind of like
Yeah.
the creation of the universe in 40k is pretty up in the air. I'm pretty sure.
I would say Harry Ballantyne. I think I think the main Slaanesh character in fantasy fell because he ate his dad.
Wow. I know that Sigvald died because
Yeah.
Throg beat him over the head, then pissed on his grave. That's just a
Jesus.
BM.
So
Oh my
take
gosh.
More L's, Sigvald, you fucking loser.
Another one by
Oh,
the
man.
gaming storyteller. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Opinions on Lucius the Eternal. Hecking hate the
Cheers,
guy
man.
myself, but you're such a well-written asshole. Yeah, I mean,
I
he,
like him.
I hope
you,
he explodes.
I
you
like
hate
him.
him so much because he's really irredeemable. Not a single good. I mean, Saul
I-
Tarvitz.
I just kind of
Hell
wish
they
he had.
friends.
I wish he just kind of had an objective. Like Armin's got his whole. I'm just going to try this rubric one more time. Yeah, and Khan's like, I'm stuck in that. I'm a mad lunatic and there's no escape. And Typhus is kind of just being a pest, literally. I wish Lucius had a bit more of like, oh, I should have a goal, but instead he's just kind of going, I'm here.
Yeah,
Chop,
he's.
chop, chop.
I want to
Nurgles.
duel people,
Nurgles
but
were
my
always
but my
sitting in-
gimmick is I have to lose for my gimmick to happen. So the writers make me lose all
Yeah.
the time, so that my gimmick can happen, and it's just like
yeah, well,
this perpetual terrible state of
that's-
existing.
To be fair, that's just a problem with any character who can respawn. You can kill them
Yeah.
forever, and it means nothing.
Yeah, and
But
then
then
they
they
break
say
the
that,
rules
like-
with it too, like get it with the Necron guy and stuff. Oh, it's so silly. I
just
do like
the idea
Lucius though.
of him one day like charging headlong towards the lion, like this will be a good fight, and lion's gonna kill him and not feel anything, and then one of his men goes, "Let me, my lord." And he's like, "No," and then he kills him, and then he resurrects. It's like just being a nuisance.
What about Slaanesh's realm though? Because I bet that is crazy.
Yeah, it's cool. If you there's in all the demon codexes since like 5th edition, there's the little short story of the Silver Knight, which I always splooge over a little bit because it's a really good story. I even have a video where I just read it. But he wanders through the Slaanesh's realm. And Slaanesh has 6 circles in her realm. There's no guards and there's no soldiers or anything, but each circle in her realm will tempt you in a different way until you get to the middle. So it's first is the circle of greed, and I believe then is gluttony, lust, adoration, and achievement is like pride and vanity, I guess. And then the excess of sloth. That's what it is, sloth. And then finally, the palace of pleasure, is where you meet Slaanesh, and essentially in this short story, the Grey Knight goes through all these circles, and as I said, they all tempt him in a different way. Like there's the one where the lust one is all these like beautiful nymphs striding around, and there's perfume in the air. It smells really nice. You just want to stop and do all that stuff. But then he sees somebody else there, and he sees the truth of it, and it's kind of like the little flash, and it's the scary demons and the horrible things. That really does encompass what Slaanesh is on the outside. She's beautiful and perfect and everything you ever wanted, but on the inside, when you get everything you really wanted, you realize how big of a mistake you've made and all the terrible things you had to do to get there. And it's very like kind of a reflection of what happens in real life quite often. Then the Circle of Gluttony, it's a big ocean of wine, and there's giants bent over, and there's bone bridges going from the giants, and on these giants' backs there's these tables with the most greatest feasts you'll ever see. Circle Sloth is like this beautiful beach paradise in the air. It just makes you sleepy and you want to rest. You made it so far. And there's the Vanity Circle, where it's this nice beautiful forest, and you look into the glade, into the pool there, and you see like everything you ever wanted, people adoring you and cheering you on. But then you look to the side and you see that the vines slowly creep around you and grow on you till you are stuck there forever. And what did I miss? Let's see. Sustenance. Oh, the first one is the richest one, and it's just like stacks on stacks of gold, like ruby roads and beautiful gold statues and gold coins all over the place. But if you take even a single coin from that circle, you'll be stuck there forever trying to grab more and more and more till it all falls out of your pockets, and you have to try again, eternally trying to gather up gold. So yeah,
It's quite
pretty
Dante's
cool.
Inferno, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very Dante's Inferno.
We did have a donation, I think, as well. Oh, the vote thing's on the way. I can't read it.
I can
It's
read
by
it.
I feel
From Deacon
Deacon. God, how did I mess that up?
for $9.99.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
brother. He says, "Would you rather spend a week in Comorar or for the rest of your life once a day having to randomly do the entire pacer test?" Monotone guy
That's funny.
saying, "Down, up, included.
Down.
It's beamed into
Oh.
your brain."
It's better than dying. I mean,
Nah, put me in Comra. I'll be a chair for a week.
Yeah, just be useful. They'll leave you alone.
Marathi will not sit on you, Colin.
Yeah, no, that's
you never know. I
Comra.
could dream.
Little
And everything
Hesper
Targaryen
can
as
fix
well. Halo Precursor equals Warhammer Old One. Thoughts?
Precursors Mog. My
Yeah.
reasoning, I like Halo more.
The
Behold.
Forerunners are kind of like the old ones, though, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, those are the
Some way.
precursors. That's different.
Yeah, the Forerunners
okay.
were
I mean,
around
Halo
with
more
humanity
clearly.
at the same time, but then there was like some strange, we're going to devolve you, and then the humans are like, huh?
What? To be
yeah,
fair, the
Halo lore
humans
is
did
whack.
start burning down Forerunner worlds.
They deserved it.
Fair.
We
What
never
the
do that in real life.
They didn't. I mean, it was because of the flood. It wasn't without reason, but they also didn't tell the
Yeah.
Foreigner the flood were a thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Halo show for ruining the flood.
But
Shout
bro,
out to
Reach
Halo
is
show for
happening.
ruining.
Yeah,
you
Reach
not-
happened off screen, and Master Chief is allergic to his armor.
Wow.
Oh no.
That is just so depressing. But anyways, the champion of Slaanesh is Lucius the Eternal. The Primarch is Fulgrim, obviously. Kind of like the issue with all of the Chaos Gods. The moment you give into Chaos, you're a slave and it's over. And it's like, it's literally never worth it to give into Chaos, which is like the faction has no redeeming qualities, unfortunately. Nobody wins ever joining Chaos. You damn your soul for eternity to eternal torment and servitude instead of going to Emperor Heaven. So, yeah, you should stick it to the man, but come on. So,
Don't.
yeah,
It's just
Fulgrim has
propaganda of a four-armed emperor worshipper.
a four-armed emperor is for real.
Yeah.
Anyway, Fulgrim kind of just sits around all day and feels good, and that's it. That's what Fulgrim's doing.
Well, yeah, you kind of explained it earlier about how their sense is like ridiculously heightened. I can
Yeah.
see more colors.
Yeah, and I guess there's like the good side. Slaaneshi champions and corrupted people are usually really fast, and then anything that they were pursuing earlier, they'll be really good at it. So, but yeah, the whole Slaanesh thing is usually like glass cannon, but also at the same time, on the tabletop, they usually have feel no pain because, you know, they enjoy the pain feels good, so they're also tough and really fast. So, you know, take your pick, I guess. But Lucius the Eternal, it's been a while since I've read his book, but essentially he got corrupted in the Horus Heresy after losing an unfair fight to Logan. He won that he won that fight, but whatever. After Logan punched him in the face, and then, you know, he goes to the Laren Temple. I think he shows up there, and he's corrupted instantly, which sucks. But, you know, and then he starts scarring his face. And before this, he was their best duelist, and now he's so obsessed with being the perfect duelist. Every time he makes a mistake, he cuts his face, and so eventually he's just this scarred mess. And Nikoni Shadowkin kills him in the end, and then, you know, Shadowkin turns into Lucius and, you know, starts the cycle of Lucius the Eternal, because his whole gimmick is that whenever you kill him, if you feel any pride over the act at all,
Shadowkin doesn't transform, does it? Because he kills him before he's the Chosen, and then it's like, oh, he gets resurrected, and we don't know.
Shadowkin killing him starts the whole, and then he will resurrect. But Shadowkin, as in, like, the Shadowkin doesn't feel an emotion when he kills him.
He literally
goes, because Slaanesh liked that, it set the rule of, like, you can only be killed by someone like
Slaanesh went, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, I see. So whenever you kill him, if you feel any pride at all, even if you were, like, indirectly linked with it, then he will, like, he'll take over your body, and you'll turn into Lucius in, like, a agonizing process.
You cannot tell me the servitor making minds and high Forge World sub-level 8 trillion felt any pride in the matter.
Hang on, Colin. It's a fair point. If the guy who was making the hand grip of the bolter that killed Lucius by accidentally discharging, that's a valid... If he found pride in making that grip, This is valid.
I guarantee you that dude was a servitor. He does not have pride because he's been lobotomized.
Yeah, unfortunately, GW takes the worst scenarios and makes it, which is why everyone hates him, because GW writes him in these ridiculous scenarios that shouldn't work, and then they break all the rules that they set earlier for his whole gimmick. And then, like, the guy resurrects out of a Necron with no soul, for Pete's sake. And I don't know.
They should just have a Dreadnought just sit on him.
Well, they just have him win, and which he does win a lot, to be fair. Like, he is pretty goated. During the Dropsite Massacre, he, like, 1v10s all by himself, and, you know, he wins. So he is actually really good, and he kills a lot of champions, but GW likes to put him in goofy situations and, you know, just stick it to the man, I guess.
I think
he has the...
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Well, he has the Lair Blade, which is, you know, kind of a fun little fact. He carries the original Lair Blade that corrupted everybody. Yeah. Ooh. And he has the Lash of Torment, which is like a demon lash thing that's connected to his arm now. He has a stimulant pack that just pumps him full of, you know, the good stuff. And his armor of Shrieking Souls, all the swirling faces on there are the souls that he's taken over and been turned into. Yeah. So yes, every face on his armor is one time he lost a fight. But it does damage to whoever damages him, and it's a fun little thing on the tabletop. And he still has no updated model, even though Arm and Typhus and Karn got updated 10 years ago. Good. And I'm going to keep seething and coping for the rest of my life.
Well, you see, the Slaanesh was born from the Eldar, which means she's never allowed to have updated models.
But they saw that people like Slaanesh. They updated them in Age of Sigmar, and they look amazing.
Yeah, well, that's because Age of Sigmar's allowed to have fun.
But you just said about how unlikable Lucius is, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's bullshit." It's like, yeah, that's why he's not getting a model.
Can't wait till he's on the tabletop. My favorite, my beloved.
He is fun to use on the tabletop, even though he has no actual, like, eternal rule. But usually, like, his old rules were the difference between your weapon skill and his weapon skill. He got that many extra attacks, and he had, like, weapon skill 7 or 8, I think. So he was a pretty good duelist. You know, take your pick. What were you going to say? Do you remember?
I think I forgot. No.
Okay, sorry.
No, it wasn't that important.
There's like one more example. I was trying to find the name of the warband. I was looking through the codex, but I don't remember what they're called. They were on around Cadia during the 13th Black Crusade, and they're blessed by Slaanesh, and they have good military tactics. They're actually organized and not completely insane, and they're like, they don't show anybody. They never take off their armor because nobody's worthy of seeing their, like, perfect sculpted physiques. And so I kind of imagine when they do take off their armor, they're like JoJo characters.
Do they
And-
have like a logo? Because I might have made it. If that's
Yeah, they do.
Oh, let me
It's
have
like
a look
Sons
here.
of Excess or something. I don't remember.
Let
But
me
their
have a-
Dreadnought guy is pretty cool. They have a Dreadnought chapter master
Angels
who's
of
dead now, I'm
Ecstasy?
pretty sure. That
Well.
might be them.
Yeah, there you go.
So their Dreadnought chapter master, you think you won't be able to feel pleasure and stuff as a Dreadnought, but when he opens up the sarcophagus, all of his nerve endings are like hanging out of his body so that he can
Oh,
feel it. Oh
geez.
yeah, it's
Ew.
brutal. But Sigvald, also shout out to Sigvald. Sigvald the Magnificent is so beautiful that not even the ground is worthy of touching his feet, so he hovers off the ground. I think that's so
I
awesome.
think my favorite bit of lore is he burned down a Bretonian city solely because a bottle of wine they made like 200 years ago was not to his liking. So he showed up and
That sounds
torched
right.
the place.
What a bastard.
That guy, give him credit. He is winning Slanesh. Like, it
Yeah,
just gives him
he's-
anything
yeah.
he wants.
Asshole chaps, baby. Love that model. He also has such a cool model. He's in the container right there.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Do you
painted
have
like
his
full
AOS model?
Yeah, here, I'll pull it out even though the camera won't focus on it. But
The
yeah, that's
beautiful
pretty
boy.
much Slanesh from what I can tell. It's been so long since I've read a Chaos book. You can't see much of him, but my friend painted him and he looks
Nice.
really nice. I don't know how to make this camera. Oh, here, okay, you can kind of see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
some
For
hell
audio
yeah.
listeners, it is Sigvald
It looks
decked out in
great.
Emperor's Children colours.
Yeah.
Stuck
So
in.
I
Sweet.
I'd use him as like a proxy for
What
Demon
is-
Prince
What did
on the
Sigvald
tabletop.
eat?
What do you
What
say?
does Sigvald eat?
Oh, he ate one of his family members. I just
In
don't
the
remember
containers,
which
just
one.
gave me.
Like a baby brother or something?
He is
No,
indeed
I-
in the container.
Oh, his dad kicked him out because Sigvald kept eating people. Uh,
The
and,
the
then Sigmar, no, not Sigvald killed him when his dad went to sleep. And then he
Someone
just
said he's
left.
in the jar. Why is it with jars and Slanesh? There's no
I-
jars under his bed.
You know why.
I like the Age of Sigmar like little trailer for Sigvald. He was in his like celebrity trailer in the Warp, pretty much talking about like how pretty he looks and stuff. That was fun.
Well, that was horny.
Okay.
But the next one's a little bit more angry because I think Andy's going to be mentioning Khorne, the most recognizable chaos, corruption, and god.
Mhm.
Khorne,
Colin's
Khorne for the
favorite.
cornflakes.
Rah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
angry.
well, here's the thing. Eli mentioned earlier that Slanesh has a hell of a lot of, variety and stuff. Not so much with Khorne. Khorne has just one thing, and we all know the quote: "Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne." He's a big, mighty lad covered in heavy plates of armor. He sits upon a throne made of skulls within the sea of blood, within the bloody sea, among the mountain of skulls, within the planet of scully blood stains and skulls and blood and and that's basically just Khorne. It's just anger, skulls, blood, killing, violence. I mean, people give worship to him whether they want to or not. So while there are cornate berserkers and world eaters who just go, "Oh, I'm gonna go, skin this child," and Khorne's like, "Fantastic." At the same time, people can unwittingly, for example, if you're a primitive tribe in some bumblefuck planet somewhere in the Imperium, if you're gonna go hunting, Khorne likes that. If you're gonna go beat your neighbor's head in with a rock, Khorne likes that. So even to an extent, the Space Marines, by committing acts of violence, are kind of empowering the god of violence and killing. The duality of the Chaos Gods does mean that he has some good qualities. For example, he'll never stab you in the back is the classic one. He doesn't like people being sneaky. He doesn't like any subterfuge. Worshippers of Khorne typically don't like any psychic powers. They don't like bolters. They don't like ranged weapons. There's one of the Hammer and Bolter episodes. The Sororitas are defending a temple, and these Khornate berserkers are rushing in, and one of them points a gun, and one of the other ones cuts his hand off and he goes, "No guns." And then I think he kills him because he's just like, you're not one of us. You're using a filthy ranged weapon. They hate campers. They just detest camp. Go in with the knife, back attack. That's
It's
their,
Call of
that's their
Duty
whole deal.
Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. If everyone remembers back in the day.
Pussy uses riot shield. Tell me what I fucking use.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sorry, I need to change my mic to the webcam to get the authentic experience.
Yeah.
Corn's way cooler in fantasy, in my opinion.
He's a fun chap to an extent, but he's kind of dull in others. Because here's the thing: he's so one dimensional, and you'd think he would be. What can you say other than he likes a good fight? He likes blood. He likes skulls. You know where you stand with him, but that's kind of all there is to him. I mean, where he lives is basically just any level from the Doom remake. Just it's red. There's like dust and fire and brimstone and blood, and people are screaming.
More traditional hell, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just hell. He's basically just big space Satan.
Well, I think
What
in Warhammer
else?
Fantasy, he's got. Okay, to be fair, all these things that I say about the good aspects of the Chaos Gods, I've heard since I was like 10 years old, but I never knew where people actually got this idea from. So maybe I'm completely wrong. But in Warhammer Fantasy, I think he's a lot more about the killing, yeah, but he's also a lot about like self-improvement and honor
Discipline.
and like pride in your work. And
He's like any of those
hard
fitness
work.
influencers online. He's just like, you need to get up at
Yeah.
6 in the morning.
Yeah.
You got to go to
Pretty
bed
much.
at 7 in the morning so that you can go to the gym at 4 in the morning. It's like, hang on a minute. This,
Don't pay for your
It's-
kids to be in first class. They need to go in economy like the losers they are. They're not rise and grinding at the age of 8.
It's he'll give you the strength to kill a giant. You need to prove you can do it first without it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think in fantasy he's probably the best god to go with. I feel.
By the way, we got a donation from Bert
Like,
Vedemir
Thank you.
for €5 saying why you should choose Korn. You get the best speech. Faithful, enlightened, ambitious, brethren. In but a decade, few mere swipes of the pendulum.
I like that.
Pretty
I'm
cool.
a big fan of
Do
the
like
that.
Azariah Kyra speech.
I
It's
do
so
like
hard that-
I have a quote here from Ergathon of the Skull Takers who just says, "There is no peace. There is only time wasted between battles." It's always about the grind
Does go
phase,
hard.
these guys.
Goes hard.
CJB says pay for your kids to go into cargo so they can work their way to first class.
Jesus.
So
Exactly.
anyways.
So yeah, and all the gifts that you can get from Korn are pretty standard, but they're no less impressive. Like you're gonna be stronger, you're gonna be faster, you'll be able to be like, I can take a bolt around to the face possibly and still live. That's kind of cool. The more you murder, the happier you get. At a certain point, you'll become like a frothing maniac, and every time you kill someone, you might be like, that's quite a nice relief sensation. Oh wait, and then you're going back to like slaughtering people.
You do get a swole though. You get a swole.
You get swole. Yeah, you get gains. That's why Eli's like, oh,
Corner's literally the
muscles.
meme of, man, I need to get back into shape. Might go to prison just for a bit. Just so I can
I
work
gotta
out
focus
routine.
on myself.
yeah.
Corn is like the Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman type, 300-pound bodybuilding, and Slanesh is like your classic like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'd say I think that makes
I wouldn't
sense.
say Slanesh is that. It's more, river dancing meet mass attack. I don't
No, I'm
know.
just like comparing it to like how jacked you're getting, because Slanesh and Corn are both gonna get jacked and
Yeah, to
stacked.
be fair, you're pretty sculpted as Slanesh.
But you'll be like the perfect
We
physique as that.
It's
Anyways.
it's the difference between the bodybuilder build and the the sumo wrestler build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got another donation by the way from
Thank
you, brother,
Captain
thank you.
Firespitter. Hello, my friend. Welcome back. It's very difficult taking the Chaos Gods seriously sometimes. Korn got whoopee cushioned. Sinch got outsmarted by a little girl, and Nurgle hit by arson over his plague lilies. Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
Chaos will
space
never
speed.
win anything,
That's
because
the
if Chaos
mage.
wins anything, then GW
they don't
has
want to win. That's the thing.
Well, it's not in
advance.
their
Yeah,
Chaos,
nature.
that's the
Chaos
other
will never
thing.
win anything. Hey
just
Eli,
likes to
what
keep
happened
going.
to Warhammer Fantasy? Where is it?
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
seem
Well,
to
that's
find
why
it.
they don't win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, they don't want to win again, which is why joining Chaos is dumb, because Chaos don't want to actually completely
Yeah.
beat They just want to fight the great game for all of eternity.
Champions
Yeah.
want to win, but
And they'll
End
never
times
give
chat
you-
for Colin. He loves it when end times is mentioned.
Don't
And
do
they'll
that.
never give you like the full extent of what you want. You're like, I want to be the
Yeah.
most powerful thing in the universe. They'll be like, I can get you part of the way, but they'll hold out on like the last stretch. Even if you get really strong, there'll be like a bit. where
always
they're like,
want more.
Come on, keep
It's
working.
the
for
classic
me.
like reality.
Come
of,
on, wagey slavey. And you're like,
Yeah,
"Oh."
you'll always want more if all you care about in life is like pursuing power or wealth
Yeah.
or stuff like that. To be first, you must be last. All that stuff.
Mm. When we got
Imperfection is the
It
perfection.
coming back
is-
up.
Him
The
coming
best
back
god
Yes,
worship
coming
is
back.
Boingob.
As always.
Squigglies. The best god to worship is Boingob. His
Boingob.
corruption slowly makes you more round and bouncy, and eventually very rotisserie'd.
So he's the god of early 30s to late 40s.
God of
Careful how
Icarus.
I'm in my
Oh,
early
Jesus.
30s.
Is
I'm
there
not
a,
rotund yet.
Is there a story you've particularly think is a great example of chaos or cornate corruption?
I mean,
Andy?
the classic one would just be, Tusker Demon Killer. Because here's the thing. One of the nice things about Khorne is he's not speciesist. You can be human, you can be an Eldar, you can be an Orc. He doesn't
He's
care.
very
as long-
progressive.
as the saying goes, Khorne cares not where the blood flows. It's like, he's an equal opportunity employer. He's like, yeah, we've got, equality for days. As long as you're bashing someone's skull in, it's fine.
It's a good thing that out of everything you can accuse Satan of, racism isn't one of them.
The chaos god of everybody can catch these hands.
Although I'm
His
assuming
hands are
he
rated
doesn't
E
like the
for every-
Necrons. I'm assuming, because they don't really have passion, and they also are soulless automatons, so he probably doesn't like them much.
Necrons are people.
Yeah, fair
Hey,
enough.
hey.
Yeah, they're not real people.
They're copies of
Um,
people.
Yeah, so the
Their
story,
data.
I'm sure we've said it before, but the story of Tusker Demon Killer is this guy was an orc. He was well good at killing, innit? So he went around the galaxy and he went, all right there, I'm going to kill some Humies. And he killed the Humies. And then he went, all right there, I'm going to kill some Pansies, which is what orcs kill Eldar. So he killed some Eldar. Oh, I'm going to go kill some Stunties, which is what they call the squats or the Votan now. Oh, I killed all them. Getting a bit bored. Oh, that big thing. He goes to this big thing called, I believe it's the Eye of Terror. He goes, we're going to go right in the middle, full speed ahead to the middle of that thing. Oh, there's demons in here. Oh, they're quite good at fighting. I like killing these things. Oh, they're quite tough. They don't hide behind walls or cover. This isn't like Gears of War in the early 2010s where it was all cover-based shooters. No, they get out Doom style, 50 billion guns, and you can just go straight in. So he's having a great time. And he gets to Khorne's domain. He doesn't get very far, to be fair. He gets in and he gets completely butchered, I believe it is, or it's like a blood planet.
It's like
And
a
they
demon
start-
world, yeah.
Yeah, like a demon world, and they start rising out of the ground, and he gets massacred. But Khorne's like, I like this guy. This guy's a piece of work. I like this, and this is how Khorne sounds, by the way. This is canon. He goes,
Khorne is, in
I
fact,
think this
American,
guy's
apparently.
absolutely
Ronald Reagan.
fantastic. I can't wait to meet him. So he
George
resurrects.
Yeah, that's more like it.
We do not negotiate with Slanesh. Anyway, so basically he resurrects. Yeah, fun fact: Khorne hates Slanesh. He's like,
My
You're the worst.
fellow Americans, we must drone strike the nearest Imperial
my,
world.
Any other
my fellow
presidents you got here?
berserkers. My fellow berserkers. We're gonna go and kill Slanesh. It'll be great.
little two-stick and I throw that axe in his head.
I don't who is that?
Biden,
Yeah, the chaos gods hate
Clinton,
each other.
Clinton.
I don't know if we said that the chaos gods all hate each other.
Yeah,
Bill-
but
Bill Clinton is
Khorne
not in
hates
Khorne's realm, by
Slanesh
the
the
way.
most, and then Khorne hates
Slanesh.
Siege a bit less. He doesn't hate Nurgle as much as the other two that I'm aware of. Well, we got a $5 donation
Thank
from
you, brother. Thank you.
Bunny Cop.
Hell yeah.
Khorne is a chump. Glory to Gorka Morka, true god of fighting.
Hell yeah.
We don't really see him in
Absolutely.
40k though. That's a bit of a shame. We don't see Gorka Mork that much. It's a bit of a
Yeah.
shame. We need a book. But yeah, so basically, Khorne goes, "All right, Tuska, I like where you're going. I'm gonna be your manager. I'm not gonna pay you, but you can fight in my bronze palace, and you can fight as many enemies as you want every morning when I'm having my waffles."
Are we all switching accents now? Because Eli and Colin have to do a British accent.
Yeah, they
No,
have to do
no.
They have, no,
Please,
Eli
chat,
has
make
to
him
do
do
an
it.
Irish accent, and Colin
Ireland.
has to do a Welsh accent. There we go.
I don't know what the Welsh accent sounds like.
You
I
just see
also- I
that
can't
you're
even
from
do it.
Wales.
I'm from Wales, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
lovely
you're
down
from
here.
Wales.
I have a.
How would I just pull up one of like a city name and try
I'm
and
from
say it?
Carmarthen. It's
I'm from
bloody
Cardiff.
gorgeous. Well, we've got another donation from incoming
Thank you.
backup for 30 squigglies.
Thank you,
one of
brother.
Thank you. One of my favorite immediate Khorne corruption moments was when he manifested his fist to destroy a city, and instead of running all the people in the city, tried to punch the giant god punch back.
Goes hard.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this Welsh accent, by the way.
You're going to be ready for a while there.
Just say,
Jake.
like,
Yeah, for
I'm
real.
from Wales.
Fir-
I'm
fir-
from Wales.
First, Colin has to identify where it is
I
on a
feel
map
like an
before he does
asshole.
the accent.
What was Eli's one? Is it Irish?
Do
I
a
am part
VTuber
Irish, I
accent.
believe.
What the fuck is a VTuber accent?
High pitched girly voice.
Yeah, I guess like
You
anime.
do not
Corn
want
is
to hear
definitely
what's
Scottish,
about.
though.
Is he?
So,
Yeah,
so
the
then Khorne
Highlander.
goes, "All right then, you wee bastard." He goes,
He's a
"All right
Viking.
then."
What?
No, he's Scottish.
He's Odin.
No,
Rip him in
no.
half.
He leads a hunt
Yeah.
across the heavens. He has 2 hellhound
True.
companions.
He has a literal Valkyrie.
Yeah, he is a fucking Valkyrie. He's
Warhammer
Odin.
Fantasy Corn is so much cooler. Oh my gosh.
It's not hard.
Anyway, Khorne goes, "All right then, lad. I like where you're going. I want you to fight every day in my throne room, and you'll never, guess what? Every time you die, you can come back and fight again. That's a good deal." And, and then Tusk is like, "Oh, that's brilliant, that is. I like this." So every day he just gets like massacred by like Khorne's best generals for sport, and him and his men absolutely love it. They couldn't be happier. It's paradise for them because every day they get to fight, they get killed, and they do it again every day. And Khorne is there, and every day he's just like, "Yay!" And
Dude,
that's Khorne.
If they ever pop out of his realm, the galaxy's going to be overrun by Krork.
And then at the end of the day, Khorne is on his throne. He goes, "Scotland forever!" And then that's Khorne.
Scotland.
Oh,
Scotland.
Khorne was
Right,
Mel
Dude.
Gibson.
Scotland.
Should we talk a little bit
Blood
about
for the
Karn,
god, blood for the blood.
Yeah, I was gonna
skulls
mention
for the
and
skull.
Scarbrand, and
Kills people.
Scarbrand and Skulltaker are 2 really cool demons, to be fair. Korn is the coolest demon bros, in my opinion. And really cool
And they're all
models.
called Skull something. Skull Taker or Skull Crusher or Skull Maker.
Thank you, Tom.
But Corn can't be Scottish. He'll get sued by the dwarves. I don't think they have legal paperwork. In
Leagues of Votan
Khorne's
swigging
realm.
on Urn Brew
It's
like,
all on fire.
You can't take that, that's ours.
Who was the equivalent of like? It's like because obviously like Warhammer is pretty Britished up. There's obviously the Scottish, but who's the Welsh in Warhammer Fantasy or 40k? They don't have like a equivalent.
I don't know.
What's like standard Imperial Gothic? Is it? It's like orcs are obviously like Cockney slang.
Yeah.
I guess Imperial
The Empire's
standards
from
like my
Liverpool.
accent.
What?
No, Imperial Standard's American.
Yeah,
It's
true
not.
American patriot. The Emperor was a true American patriot.
Bro, weirdly enough, I think the Emperor, because there was at the Last Church animation, they had an American voice actor for the Emperor, and I think it just works better.
To be honest,
Because
I really enjoy in like the Dragon Age series, the dwarves are actually American, which I think is an interesting twist. So like they have like a quite
The surface dweller
American.
ones, yeah.
Well,
Like,
even the ones who live underground, they're all like Americans.
They're a little
Like,
bit more
that's an
Scottish,
interesting
aren't
twist.
they? But then the surface dweller ones like have like Varric, isn't it? They're,
Yeah, like
American
Varric has like a
accents.
very thick, like is it California accent? I think it is.
I've never played Dragon Age.
It's not. It's definitely not
It's fun
California.
though.
I feel like it's a bit. I'll be a little bit more like
Yeah, so we're gonna go down
Kim.
the deep roads.
So like I was in the deep road.
I was in the deep roads and I was
Valley
fighting some
girl accent?
Darkthorn,
Yeah.
and
What?
Yeah.
my axe was so heavy. Anyway, we got a
Talks
donation
like that in
from
real
This is a
life.
weird.
Angry
What,
Leprechaun.
what just happened?
What?
Are we talking about
Corn.
corn? What?
Angry
The accent's
Leprechaun
going crazy in
donated
this episode.
$5. Corn has a German accent. Sinch has an Italian accent. Slanesh has a French
Don't do
accent,
that.
and
Don't
Nurgle
do
has
that,
a Welsh
Slash,
accent.
please.
Is it because
Thank you for the $5.
Thank you.
Don't make
A
Slanesh
Welsh
French.
Nurgle.
The French would follow Slanesh though. Like, real. That is real. That is so
Would you?
real.
Iron Maiden. Yes. Yeah,
Still
that's,
waiting on the Irish and Welsh.
I think because of the amount of people I maybe have offended with my accents, I will call it there with Corn. All you need to know, he
okay.
likes fighting, he likes blood, he likes skulls. Done.
Kill
Can I-
with brick.
I'm gonna talk about Scarbrand and Skulltaker real quick.
a little bit
real
of Khan
quick.
as well, yeah.
Yeah, you can talk about Karn because I don't pay much attention to those guys anymore. But Scarbrand is like the OG bloodthirster that we all know and love. He pretty much he was super powerful. He got really, really arrogant, and so he thought he was strong enough to attack Khorne. He attacked Khorne and dented his armor, which is pretty impressive, to be fair. But Khorne was not too happy about it, especially because he did it when he wasn't looking, and that was why he was unhappy. He wasn't unhappy that Scarbrand attacked him. He was unhappy because he did it when he wasn't looking. So he commented him down to the galaxy, burning his wings, so his wings don't work anymore. And now he's eternally trying to redeem himself, just killing a bajillion, gabillion people for Khorne. Skull Taker, I think Skull Taker's name is Uzul, who was the first thing that happened. He was a bloodletter, and the first moment that he was born, he beheaded the first thing he saw, which was another bloodletter. And so he went on just beheading people, and then Khorne was like, I like this guy, and he gave him power, and he's Khorne's executioner now. He wears like a cloak of skulls of all the dudes that he's killed, and he seeks out challenges. And when he gets you, because he always wins, he chops all your limbs off and then sets you on fire. So then your skull, the flesh melts off of your skull. So he has this nice shiny skull, and he tries to find skulls of foes worthy enough to add to Khorne's skull throne. And he's a baller. He's cool.
We have another donation by Donkey Man USA. Thank you, brother.
Hoorah!
My following, I guess he's doing.
My fellow Imperials, we must drone strike
fellow
the
Imperials. We must drone strike the line then.
That's real, so real. Oh
Jesus
my gosh,
Christ. We're getting bad at our accents. We had to read them all out.
$5 and the George Bush meme.
A little bit on.
Was that Obama, actually? That was Obama meme. Yeah, they're all the same. Let's be honest.
My fellow Americans.
Oh man. I was gonna say. Michael Bay is all four of the Chaos Gods in one. He's the aberration of all four Chaos Gods. I just thought of that.
He's the ever chosen.
And then, one more thought. From somebody said earlier, if Chaos wins, they lose, which is true. Which is why the Alpha Legion were cool for one entire book, because they wanted to extinct humanity. Because then Chaos would win and then implode on itself and would rid Chaos from the galaxy forever. But then they didn't do that, and nobody wrote about that anymore. So.
I hope Amigon gets crucified.
Jesus. Last
Endless space.
Last little bit on Khorne corruption. A human character is the example of Khan the Betrayer. Really well-known character, and his fall to Khorne corruption was more of a internal war where hatred and rage was building up, and eventually he's one of the better examples. It takes him a couple of books to fall to it, and he fights it off as long as he can. But generally, it shows a better example, the mental torture that comes with Khorne corruption. And unfortunately, he's kind of a bit boring now. But Khan has his fall is quite well done, and he sort of loses himself to rages, and he's the perfect example of just skull for the skull throne. The next Chaos God, though, my boy, Beak Lovecraftian mess himself, Tzeentch. Tzeentch is the changer of ways. He is ambition. He is fate. He is just the master of magic, entropy, and Tzeentch is pretty much just Lovecraftian bird god in the setting. Now, there's a bit Colin mentioned earlier about how some of the gods were formed during the medieval time. I really hate this because they added this in not long ago. There's new lore to suggest that the Chaos Gods were sort of, the main three, which are Khorne, Nurgle, and Tzeentch, they were coalescing around the time of the War in Heaven.
Why is that bad?
Because it's one of those things where it just showed that the new law is basically the Chaos Gods have always existed in the not as in the warp, but in the actual mortal timeline. Yeah. And it was no. Why can't the War in Heaven be its own thing? So and Tzeentch is probably one of, I think Khorne is probably considered the earliest, although in some older lore, it was said that Tzeentch was the first one. It's a little bit controversial. Go ahead, sorry.
It's old fantasy lore. He used to it was just Tzeentch, and he was the strongest Chaos God, but then the other ones chopped him up, and he reformed eventually, but he wasn't the head honcho anymore.
And I think in old lore, Cain and Abel was when Khorne existed, the first murder.
We have another donation by Tom Warren. Thank you, brother. He says, if Tzeentch is the god of change, then he should change into something less ugly.
Big facts, big
Damn.
facts.
So true. So
He doesn't
true.
have a. To be fair, he doesn't have a true form.
Mhm.
Tzeentchian. Okay, so one of the last parts of the backstory is what Colin kind of mentioned earlier. At one point, he was kind of turning into the most powerful god, just because there was so much change and Tzeentchian, with being empowered by fate itself and the futures and many different possibilities. There's a point where he was the most powerful chaos god, and the other ones went, we
Mhm.
can't deal with that. Oh, we got it out. Don't worry,
We got
that
it.
one.
We got it, Andy. Don't worry.
And essentially, all the other chaos gods went. They just literally threw themselves at him, like body first, until Khorne eventually got close enough to give him a little shank. But then, to be fair, that could have played into what Tzeentch really wanted, and the game would play on forever. There's one of the more annoying parts about Tzeentch is that it's a little bit Alpha Legion vibe with it, because it's like, it was my secret plan all along. Oh, and I got another donation here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's Captain Firespitter. Thank you, brother.
Cheers,
He says,
buddy.
Khorne must adore humanity the most. Half of the species has its blood boiling. My fellow Scotsmen are giving the Glasgow kiss while brawling, and the other half of the species has the time of the month. Oh, God.
Well, yeah, I think that was the idea that Khorne was the strongest in 40k at one point.
I think he
because of
currently
that.
is now,
Like, it's
supposedly.
It's a war game setting, so he kind of does by
Yeah.
default.
Yeah.
All
it's kind
right,
of his
DJ
thing.
Beast.
Oh, okay.
You
Looking
do got
Bricky
that
is getting
Bricky
caught in the
forehead.
fire
Go for
now.
it, buddy.
Jesus.
Oh my
Leave
gosh.
break it out of this, man. Tzeentchian corruption is much more like the word chaos personified. It is pretty hectic. They have mutations such as like you can grow like wings, beaks. There's a lot of avian theme to it. Extra eyes. You're always going to get an extra eye. Hopefully, if it's in a good spot, you don't want it like right in like the nape of the neck or something. Really awkward. The worst of Tzeentchian corruption though is being a chaos spawn. It is literally like a mutated flesh thing. You are crazy, horrific fate. That's the worst version of it. But again, it empowers
even-
Tzeentch. Okay, sorry.
You don't even have to do anything bad for that to happen. You'll just do it because it's funny.
Yeah, it's
Out
like
of
a
nowhere. Any
it's a
moment
loss of
now,
secret.
Armon could turn into a chaos spawn, and Tzeentch wouldn't care.
Be funny, goofy.
Mhm.
a bit goofy. And he also, when you sort of hear the corruption and then like Colin mentioned earlier, like hear voices and things like that. One of the abilities that you'll start to notice about your body if it happens to you is your magical abilities. If you had some, they start to get a little bit of a buff. You're like, oh, I could do things I couldn't do before. Tzeentch also grants insight and power. As the Weaver of Fate, often a boon is the fact that you can sort of participate and get to sort of see visions of the future. He will often has the powers to distort time, not necessarily going back in time, but there's like particular even magical abilities that literally affect time in itself. Or there's entire plot lines where someone lets themselves be killed like in a certain way, only to then like reappear as like an earlier version of themselves in the timeline. Really weird. Another donation by
Thank you.
Jared Ezrin. He says, will the Emperor ascending to godhood be the equivalent to Sanesh's birth for humanity? Actually, that's really good. I don't know. What do you guys
guess,
think?
yeah.
Maybe.
Kind of, but I wanted to say, maybe it probably would have been better if they made the Alpha Legion corrupted by Tzeentch, and then the Thousand Sons could have, I don't know, stayed like pure and true to the Emperor. They could have, the Thousand Sons could have turned into the Grey Knights. I think that would have been a much better.
But Eli, don't you know? Alpha Legion's a loyal legion.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. They're so tricksy, and they would get caught in their schemes and eventually get tricked like to follow Tzeentch as part of a scheme. Because all the Thousand Sons embody for Tzeentch is the magic part. They don't embody like anything else really, like the knowledge and magic, I guess. But there's no scheming there or anything.
Yes,
I think
it's not
Tzeentch
like
likes
Sindri.
fools as well. Tzeentch likes people who kind of like their fate is interesting, not necessarily like they are. Like Magnus is the ultimate fool because his whole thing is, the Thousand Sons have like their saying is, the only sin is ignorance, and yet Magnus's ignorance was the only thing that got them corrupted by Tzeentch because he was like, I knew better. No, you didn't.
He's just that annoying kid in class who just goes, did you know it's not pronounced encyclopedia, it's pronounced encyclopedia. It's like, he's just insufferable know-it-all.
Shut up,
Crisis
nerd.
looking.
Yeah, no.
Another thing of Tzeentch is his realm of Tzeentch. Zeech's realm is messed up. Like this thing is, I mean, it's a labyrinth of crystals. There's things called the Silver Towers, which like jutting features that like spur out of the ground. The flora and fauna supposedly defy physics, whatever that really means. So things that are impossible happen in the realm of magic.
It's basically that scene in the labyrinth where he's just walking upside down in all these corridors, and it's like he's all over the place.
He's
That's
not
not
David
possible.
Bowie, though.
No.
Oh no, the child girl, David Bowie.
You remind me of the Iron Man.
Also in the realm of Tzeentch, there's sort of structures. One of them is called the City of Light, which used to be Prospero, kind of got ratioed. But now it's like crawling with all kind of twisted peoples and avian like creatures and things that fly.
Don't forget Zangors. Don't forget Zangors.
Yeah,
Hal.
Zangors do exist. they are
By the combat patrol.
the damn goat people are there. It's surrounded by like a weird place where, like, I remember in the Mephiston book he talks about how he's near the City of Light, and to get onto it you have like an ascend, like a stairway thing, like a stairway to heaven almost, and around it's like weird like sand dunes of like crystal, and like colors just don't make sense. It's really bizarre. And another structure in this is called the Impossible Fortress. This is where Tzeentch supposedly resides. Again, there's no actual law of like how to describe it, because it's described as it's in constant flux and change. So no one will have the same experience, unlike with like Sanesh's sort of realm. Pretty messed up place. Tzeentch himself has no true form. He often looks like in art depictions like a sort of a Lovecraftian Nyarlathotep sort of creature. He doesn't have any, like, that's just what he chooses to, I guess, present as, because he's kind of similar to that. But again, like, even for people being corrupted by Slaanesh, they often have, as much like in Slaane's one, they will sculpt their form, they have control over their form, because of the aspect of change and future and all those kind of warping sense. They don't really have control over their form, so often they'll warp in something they have no control over, because it's the best amount of change. And he really hates Nurgle, because Nurgle is stagnation and Tzeentch is change. The last bit is basically my example, which is the story of Azek Ahriman, Thousand Sun Sorcerer. The corruption of this started basically right at the beginning when he was in his gestation pod. Tzeentch messed with the Thousand Suns Legion, and essentially they were turning into Chaos Spawn. The corruption is like deep encoded within their DNA. Even Ahriman's like, no matter, like, even to this point now, he still feels like he's resisting the sort of inevitable change of magic, like deep in his core. He enacts something called the Rubric of Ahriman. His friends are all turning into Chaos Spawn. He goes, "I'm gonna save you, Book of Magnus. I choose you."
It's just his never-ending mixtapes. Like, I promise, it's better than the last one. It's like, dude, give up.
Man.
He is a terrible boyfriend in all regards. He pretty much just turns most of the Legion into like locked in dust inside their armor. They are basically trapped automatons, but the rest of the sorcerers, they get a massive increase to their power level. Again, like, the corruption of Tzeentch flows within them. So a Tzeentchian sorcerer such as Kaon, Iskandar Kaon, who
Isiander, I think.
Isander Kaon, who is like the friend, good old Lord Channel there as well. That character literally is the equivalent of like an entire group of Grey Knights as one guy.
He's so cool.
So we do have a donation here as well by Joseph Pollard. Thank you, brother. He says, question, has Khorne and Slaanesh every team up once just the two of them? I love when two people who hate each other are forced to work together. Keep up the good work.
They did team up, and guess who was
Man.
guess who the one time they teamed up, guess who suffered for it?
No.
No, it's way more recent.
No,
They teamed up and they blew up Bealtan.
Pain for Eldar fans.
I
Poor
love
Colin.
Games Workshop.
you can't catch a break.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
great. The Ynnari were involved in that too, because of course they were.
Oh, Ynnari mentioned quickly. Everyone get there.
Inevitable victory! Inevitable victory!
The last little part of like Ahriman's story is basically he doesn't realize. Look, particularly with some Tzeentchian characters, they don't really exalt Tzeentch the way other Chaos factions do. Ahriman doesn't even realize he's corrupted by Tzeentch. Like, supposedly his face under his helmet is like a massing, like writhing thing of eyes, and he doesn't even realize it. He can't even perceive it because he's so
My
corrupted by
depth
Tzeentch.
perception is way better, and I have now a panoramic view. But I have no idea. No. Why would I?
So, hey, Aramin, you know most people don't have a 360 field of view, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, like the whole like because there's a subtlety to Tzeentch, which is like obviously scheming, particularly like for a lowly, even just like a regular person getting corrupted. Their whole thing is they'll start to set more like he already picks people who like to set schemes, but now your schemes are like way more crazy because like, I see the futures and the eye in the back of my neck can see the past.
Avalegion really should have been Tzeentch's thing. What the heck?
I mean, to be fair, like I think the Thousand Suns corrupted by Tzeentch came way before even the Horus Heresy happened.
And let's not forget, in
there's
Dawn
a
of War 1,
thing.
two Alpha Legionaries, one of which is a sorcerer, went and tried to worship Khorne.
The sorcerer did it again.
Dawn of
Yeah.
War's got a bit of a habit of that.
Dawn of War is weird.
The Blood Angels chapter master in Dawn of War 2 is corrupted by Khorne.
Blood Ravens.
The Blood Ravens.
We did it
Blood
again.
Angels. Did it again. Oh no, they
Gabriel
actually.
Angelos.
We have another donation. Tom Warren, thank you again, brother. He says
Fuck
Thank
you.
you, Tom.
the one thing everyone can agree on is not liking elves. Well, he didn't say
Three
Eldar,
parts
so
hate elves.
that's even more of a crime.
I like
Um,
elves.
That's kind of it for the Tzeentchian corruption. The next
Okay.
one is the blessed, the great horned
yeah.
rat. Colin,
Can I,
you take it
can I
away.
add one final note to make fun of Tzeentch?
Sure.
He is the chaos god of copium because he will hear.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the Tzeentch knows everything. He's got his hands in everything. He knows everything. He can do anything he wants. My source? Oh, Greater Demons of Tzeentch, of course. Yes, there is no bias to be found in that argument.
Tzeentch is the guy who made all the Alpha Legion stories for Horus Heresy. We planned it all along.
No,
Is
bro.
what he says at the end of every story.
I will
Tzeentch.
counter. He is the. Everyone thinks they won the argument, not realizing the person they're arguing with, like you're basically too dumb to have like the full conversation with. So the person walked away when I won, being like you couldn't hack it.
Let me counter that. He's also the god of lies, so he's inherently full of shit.
Yes.
Also, to mention the Changeling if you want. Is anybody fan
Oh,
of
the Changeling is a cool demon prince who pretty much is the epitome of Tzeentch
Yeah.
himself. He is absolute goofball. This thing can turn into anything, impersonate people too. I think even Grey Knights, they had trouble they didn't really detect that he was infiltrating or betraying himself as a person. Again, like the Changeling, or even something like the Blue Scribes as well, they're kind of they're an enactment of Tzeentchian fate weaving and changes on the level where like just one little small demon can ruin entire sectors, and it led to something called particularly in like a big point in the lore, which was the Months of Shame, Space Wolves getting attacked by Inquisition and stuff. So
Hoorah.
that's stuff for another time though. Great
He's
Horned
also-
Rat.
Fraudster.
He's also he also got Balthasar Gelt thrown in jail in the end times. The Changeling.
Oh, pain.
But yes, the Horned Rat, the greatest, truly the greatest chaos god. Actually, officially now, the 5th god of chaos as of the latest AOS edition, which is funny because I thought he ascended at the beginning of Age of Sigmar, but apparently that was a prank. But he made a deal with Archaon. He's now a chaos god, which Archaon can apparently just do, which is good to know. He is the chaos god of the Skaven, of course, and he represents just being the worst. Like there's no other way to put it. I know I said that a lot with Nurgle. The Horned Rat actually is the worst because like the other chaos gods have anything positive about them. Khorne, honorable in some level,
And he's not
Nurgle.
racist. Yay!
and he's not racist. Nurgle, some twisted form of love for his followers, even though I don't want a bola, but so there is some kind of caring for his followers. Tzeentch, technically the god of hope. Slaanesh, pleasure's not inherently bad. The Horned Rat, none of those positives. He's awful all around. He exists to ruin other people's things, including the Skaven. He's awful. Like he is like the concept of decay but Nurgle's kind of got, the circle of life going, so it comes back. Not the Horn Rat. He's ruin. He literally exists to ruin. To the point that his realm is called the Realm of Ruin. That I believe he created by just taking chunks of the other Chaos God's realm and shittening them up a little bit.
He's almost like
This
his
is mine
own
now.
Undivided, isn't he?
He's like technically a Chaos God, and in AOS, the Skaven are part of the Grand Alliance Chaos. No one likes him. Even more than the other Chaos Gods don't like each other. No one likes the Horned Rat. When he was going to bless Archaon, Archaon spit in his face. No one likes him. He's awful. But that's why I love him, because he's such a phenomenal piece.
Because you just have to say it every time, like, he's not a rat, he's a rat. Like, he is.
Yeah.
Is he worse than Nagash though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I'd say
all right.
that's like
Well,
a really tough. That's a really tough
I think he
question.
That's why I
probably
asked.
look, Nagash is the rightful ruler of the mortal realms. It simply is. So, Sigmar, we have confirmation as of the latest edition of Age of Sigmar trailer. He just straight up steals a soul from Nagash's hand. Truly, Sigmar is a thief of what is rightfully Nagash's. But this is a whole different tangent. No, the Horned Rat. His history begins, around the same time as the Skaven, when the Skaven were the city of Tylos in Warhammer Fantasy was getting invaded by rats, and then Skaven is presumably when he popped up. For a while, he wasn't super influential. He just had the Skaven go out and make lower property values by their very presence, basically. And it was I believe the first or second. The Skaven get into great civil wars every 5 minutes. I don't remember if it was the first or the second he finally showed up. But in one of those, to end it, the Grey Seers summoned him into the world to get the Skaven to stop killing each other. Whereupon he showed up and just started eating Skaven for a pretty decent amount of time. Like, it wasn't a quick handful. He just started grabbing them like popcorn.
It's not
And then
exactly
eventually-
gourmet, is it?
No, but it is what it is. Eventually, he managed to satiate himself for a bit, and he was like, "Listen, Skaven, it is very funny watching you do this. I'm not the genuine reasons. He thought it was funny they were killing each other. But he's like, the joke's getting old. I've had my laughs. Now you must work together." And then the Skaven work together and go out to kill things. So he doesn't make appearances often. When he does, a whole lot of Skaven are going to die. But he'll then, kind of get everyone together. Sort of. Again, these are Skaven. Like
Through
I said,
fear, mostly.
yeah,
They're afraid of him.
yeah. Because of that, he doesn't really corrupt people. There is, I think, in one of the Warhammer Fantasy supplements, a cult that worships the Great Horned Rat. I think it's in Middenheim, but I might be wrong on that. The problem is the Great Horned Rat doesn't really do anything for them. Like, this is a Stockholm Syndrome terror cult. And Skaven don't respect them. I think the Skaven might use them as like meat shields. That's it. The Horned Rat doesn't really mess with humans. He messes with Skaven very often, but for the most part, it's not an enjoyable experience. For example, there's the Vermin Lord, his greater demon, Screech Vermin King, who was formed when he took a bunch of Skaven, like the council members, threw them in a pit together, and then just kind of shut the door for an indeterminate amount of time. And when he opened it back up, they'd fused into one being, his greatest Vermin Lord. So that's the kind of blessings you could expect to get from this guy. Not great. Other than that, he did give the Skaven the Black Pillar, which can be used for any Skaven that can challenge the ruling Council of 13, with the Horned Rat's backing. Because if they touch the pillar, make their argument, they can theoretically get the Horned Rat's blessing and become a council member. Problem is, most rats that touch it blow up. So,
99% failure rate.
Yeah, if 99 might be a bit low. He's got his Realm of Ruin, which is filled with greater demons, his vermin lords. It is, I believe it said there are as many vermin lords as there are Skaven in the mortal
Wow.
world,
Holy
Jesus.
cow,
which is
what?
which is a couple billion minimum.
Jeez.
As of AOS, probably trillions or more. And yeah, it's filled with warpstone. All you can hear is squeaking rats. It's just awful. It's just horrible. I'd rather be in Kamara.
He's really well personified, but I hope this character you're going to mention.
Oh, you should know damn well who I'm going to
Yeah.
bring up.
That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, but
I love it.
they even have their own mirror of the Skaven Council of 13. There's 12 exalted vermin lords who have the Shadow Council of 13. It's a little fucky, but that's all the Skaven. And of course, how could I not mention
Yes,
Horned
the
Rats.
champion.
funniest clown, Thantcol, the Grey Seer, who is not the Horned Rat's avatar in the mortal world, but sometimes it really seems like it. Thantcol is, if you ever feel like you're a failure, just remember, you can always fail so hard that you succeed in life. Because that is Thantcol. He's on paper the ideal Skaven. He's genuinely cunning. He's a very powerful wizard to the point that, like, some of the other most powerful wizards shown in Warhammer, like Thantcol shows up and it's like, oh, you are a threat. That is a problem. He nearly ripped an airship out of the sky. He nearly ripped, like, the dwarf Hindenburg out of the sky, only stopped by an incredibly powerful wizard in Gotrek and Felix, of course. Hates Gotrek and Felix. And that we'll get to that later at another time. And he's just if Thantcol has his sights on you, you might not die, but everyone around you is probably going to, including the Skaven. Because the problem with Thantcol is he's so self-absorbed and so self-destructive that everything he does is ruined, and he's also incompetent on top of still being competent. Like Age of Sigmar. Once again, we are ruining Nagash's plans because that's what the Skaven exists to do. He led the invasion of his next greatest set of Black Pyramids, and the Skaven did successfully blow them up and ruin Nagash's plan. They also accidentally tunneled into an ocean filled with zombies and flooded Skavenblight. It was called the Year of the Drowned Rat. That is the fun of Thantcol. His book, I've started finally reading his books recently. It starts with him being captured. Oh, donation. Let me give that a read. Thank you, Donkey Man USA, for the 2. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage.
Smashing
Love it.
pumpkins.
Yeah, but yeah, he's captured, and the entire time is being carted off to, no spoilers, wherever he's going. He's blaming other people for getting him in that predicament. Despite the fact this happens right after Gotrek and Felix books, which are about 300, a couple hundred pages of Thantcol's worth of him murdering his underlings and sabotaging their plans that would have succeeded.
It's not his fault, bro.
And then going, this is not my fault. I am the greatest of Grey Seers. I'm perfect. In the end times, he was made the de facto leader of all Skaven because the Horned Rat showed up again, ate all of them, all the great, the Council of 13, and put Thantcol in charge. There was no reason given, I believe, for why this happened. So I have no reason to believe other than the Horned Rat thought it would be funny.
What could go wrong?
Well,
He's
the
just a
reason-
sense of humor.
Oh, yeah, the reason he ate the great, the Council of 13 was given, it's because they were being incompetent and infighting. As for why Thantcol was in charge, funny laugh. Put the funny rat man who's hurts the Skaven so badly that a Slann let him live in charge.
Jesus.
It's truly the Horned Rat's strongest soldier.
There is another chaos god though who does need exaltation.
Is there?
If I'm
There
right,
is Mighty
Is there?
Hashut, who will have a much shorter spiel because Hashut does not have much.
Colin. He's there.
He's there. Although I'll just tell you right now, we don't know what his realm is or if he has one. So that section's already out.
Sad.
Hashut is the father
Chaos
of
God's
darkness.
so irrelevant, doesn't even have accommodation. Oh,
He's making a bit of a comeback. He did come back in
Don't
AOS.
judge
he's got a Chaos God flat share somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he's the chaos god of, tyranny, darkness, greed. But he might not be a chaos god. He might just be a really powerful demon. He might be something else entirely connected to chaos. Never really clarified exactly. The Dawizar, the Chaos Dwarfs, worship him as a god, and he is their patron. When the Chaos Dwarfs were not quite Chaos Dwarfs yet, they were cut off from the ancestor gods of the dwarves. So as supplies ran out, they were suffering pretty greatly. Hashut came along and was like, "Hey, fellas, I got a deal for you. Get some slaves, do some evil dark magic shit, and I'll take care of you." And to be honest, he is probably the best chaos god to worship because he doesn't lie. If you do what he wants, he's not going to screw with you. Like Tzeentch may decide you're a chaos spawn now because why not?
And while
the Horde
Khorne
Red-
probably wouldn't lie either, he will punch you. You will definitely get punched at some point.
Fair enough, but Khorne is he's still like proper chaos. Like if Khorne gives you too much love, you can still turn into a chaos spawn. That Tzeentch does that the most, but that's not strictly speaking unique to Tzeentch, right?
There is a downside to Hashut, if I remember.
Only for
Is
the
it the
sorcerers.
sorcerers?
The thing with that is, in theory, sorcerers of the Chaos Dwarves do turn to stone after a long enough time. The thing is, I'm pretty sure that's more of a dwarf problem, because the dwarfs were made by the old ones to specifically not be able to use magic. So Hashut lets them use magic, but that might just be like, dwarves aren't supposed to use magic. You're trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
It's the equivalent of being lactose intolerant, just being like milk. It's
Still
like,
eating, yeah,
you
cheese
can't
and
have that.
Absolutely
Dwarves.
blowing up the basket
Yeah.
of magic.
Yeah, like that might, I'm pretty sure that's not specific, like Hashut is, dicking them over. That's just like, I'll give you the magic. You're probably not supposed to use it, but I'm not going to stop you.
I know I shouldn't, but here you go.
Yeah,
There's a little bit of like a mechanical theme to it as well.
Yeah,
in
that's
some
the
things.
he's the god of tyranny. It's just the thing is, his main followers are the Chaos Dwarfs, the Chaos Dwarfs. They're still dwarfs. They're still very industrious. They're smart. They're clever. So they use that to fulfill like what he truly wants, which is tyranny. Go out there, get slaves, build your empire, oppress whoever you find. That's what Hashut's about. It's just the dwarfs being dwarfs are very efficient with it. They're industrious by nature. They've got great factories, stuff like that. His history is, like I said, he just, ever since that first bit where he made the Chaos Dwarfs, he's just been helping them out. I don't believe it was ever made clear, but he did somehow show back up in Age of Sigmar. Shoots round 2, baby. He's coming back to get a single Warcry release and then nothing else ever again. Chaos Dwarfs truly are the most oppressed race. And
there's not much to. He's more of a minor entity, isn't he? It's
Yeah,
kinda
and-
hard to.
I appreciate that, honestly. I like when you get the small little like characters like that. It's like, it adds a little bit of flavor to chaos. It's like, you don't want just the big four. Hey, there's this fella here.
A lot of bull themes as well, because he's like a minotaur,
Yeah.
isn't he?
There
And
are
the Chaos Dwarves get like their teeth grow out as well. I think.
Yeah, it's like they're
Canons.
kind of like sort of ancient Babylonian kind of theme. They got the bowls and stuff,
The beards.
beards, yeah, and notable, some Chaos Dwarf characters. Go look at the Total Warhammer legendary lords. Astragoth Ironhand. He's and such an old sorcerer that his body is turning to stone, that he's got himself a little mechanical like pair of legs that walk for him. Not a pair of
Warhammer
legs.
is inclusive.
He's stoned all the time.
That's what it like. He can't walk because his legs are, most of his body is stone. So he's got I don't even know what to call it. I want to call it. It's like a mech, but it's clearly not a mech.
I know
Like
what
an
you mean, though. It's
exoskeleton?
Like,
Yeah,
exo.
exoskeleton. There we go. He's got like an exoskeleton that walks for him, so he can still move still.
I think. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So in that, Shoot follower doesn't mess with people very much. He knows he's got a good thing going with the Chaos Dwarves, so he's pretty
Yeah.
pretty content where he's at. Hashut Say what you want about him, might not be the most powerful. He knows what he's all about. He knows his place.
And with
Speaking
that
of,
example of the guy who's got the exoskeleton, he's not ableist, so that's good.
No?
He will gather any slave no matter what condition they're in.
And then throw them into the factory.
Speaking of, I think finally finishing on our last minor Chaos God and their corruption, I think Eli's going to explain perhaps, I don't know if
The most
this one gets him
contentious?
going for some reason, but we're going to talk about the last one here, Malice. Eli,
Yeah,
if you
baby.
remember.
Malice number one. Malice
Alice?
number
I
one.
didn't know there was a god called
Woo,
Alice.
I
woo.
think I found the real god of copium.
He's canon, guys. He's canon.
Malice?
I swear, he's there.
Malice?
The minor
He's in
Chaos
Battlefield
God,
Gothic,
James Workshop.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, Malice is the 5th and canon Chaos God. For real, real spiel.
Jeez.
call us.
All right. Fuck the Great Horn Rat, I guess.
Great Horn Rat's only in fantasy. Malice is in 40k.
You-
He was
better
Malal in
setting.
fantasy, but then Malal got copyright banned for something I don't remember what. But
British licensing laws of the 1980s. There you go.
yeah, he is the god of anarchy and the god of just chaos. He's the chaos god. He's like complete contradiction made manifest essentially, and so worshiping him causes your it strains your soul, so you're slowly like drained of life for worshiping him because it's such a contradiction. Because if Malice were to win, then chaos would just blow up and it'd be
But that's too
real
mainstream,
chaos.
So
You know,
he's
he's
the god
not.
of hipsters. That's
Yeah,
Malal.
he's the god of like actual chaos, right? Because the other gods are bound by the things that they embody and that they like. So Maul isn't bound by any of that. He just embodies like pure anarchy, crazy stuff. His Space Marine Legion is the Sons of Malice, and essentially the most of their lore comes from like little codex excerpts and also Battlefleet Gothic of all things.
Mm.
One short story as well.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were this. I don't think there's much known about them when they were loyal, because they were a loyalist chapter. They were eating people, and an Inquisitor saw this and thought, "Man, that's whack." And so he brought in some Imperial Guard and some Sisters of Battle. The Sons of Malice obliterated them and ate them, because Sons of Malice really like eating people. Then they painted
Meanwhile,
their
the Flesh Eaters chapter was just like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's so weird. Why would people eat?
Because they're not
Crazy.
actually, they don't actually eat people, but they're just called the Flesh Eaters. Like,
Suspicious.
Love it.
So they became the Sons of Malice, and they changed their paint scheme to look really cool. It's the nice white, black, and gold. They reside on a space hulk called the Labyrinth, and to gain Malice's like favor to become part of the 13, because 13's the number. I'm pretty sure it's either 11 or 13, but I think it's 13. They have to go through these like crazy trials in this labyrinth, and the people who come out alive are the get onto the council. Basically, you can summon Malice into real space, which they do on Cadia, and then they just don't talk about it anymore. But it did happen. It happened, guys. He's there, guys. I swear. So yeah, but he's pretty cool. The Sons of Malice never say anything. They fight in complete silence whenever they fight, and then they take lots of prisoners, and then they eat you afterward.
It's
So,
total
yeah.
rebellion, isn't it? From other, imagine people.
Yeah, and they're yeah,
I was like,
they're not on Chaos's side.
Oh, sorry,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead. Sorry,
They're not on, they're not on Chaos's side, and they're not on the Imperium side. They fight everybody because that's what true chaos is. So they are literally just chaos.
they're just a punk band. They're a Space
I-
Marines punk band.
speculate
Mhm.
in contradiction to the other Chaos gods being corrupted by Malice. You probably don't show much of it just because of the fact that the other Chaos gods do, and therefore he wants to rebel against that idea. But I think Malice is. There does need a little bit more love, but Malice is kind of again, like as Eli said, like his purest form, interesting. Not much is known about his realm, is it really? It just mentions
Not
the
that I
Space
know
Hulk,
of.
and then they summon him in that story, don't they? And he just looks like a big creature, and they're basically like, it's undescribable, That
Yeah.
guy's beefy.
Classic.
I swear, bros, I don't have the words to describe this really cool
My-
thing I'm looking at.
Oh,
They- I think they also
having an
betray each other as
identifiable
well.
visage is cringe. I'm just not gonna. Yes, counterculture.
That means nothing.
They
They're
have a
chaos.
they have a thing of they will betray each other because It's to do like that's like also helps serving Malice as well. So when like all them when Eli mentioned they become like part of the council gets sacrificed to bring him
there's a
into
lot of
real
sacrifice.
space. So anything like are you expected a reward for your service? No, that would be a contradiction. So
Yeah, I think
the complete opposite to everything.
and like when he was Malal, I think the idea of his followers were like he did not have a lot because he hates chaos, but what followers he did have were like the weakest Malal follower is the strongest Khornate champion.
Yeah. And I think in 40k it says that they gain immense power and then they kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that's kind of the main ones, the chaos gods. Obviously, there are some other gods in this setting, but they don't really have like a warp corruption because obviously all chaos is warp, warp mushroom source essentially. Though, I think with that should be the entirety of chaos corruption and how it affects you and ruins you and makes you want to subscribe to the channel. If you made it this far, it's a great
Worship the
transition
horned
there.
rat. Worship the horned rat. There's only one valid chaos god.
Thank you, everyone
Yeah.
who donated over the entire
Thanks, everyone.
stream. If you listened this far in, again, please do like it. Helps us out massively. We should be back with a tier list soon as well. Got some more cool stuff, and we hope you all enjoyed this episode and this sort of deep dive into the multifaceted layers of basically being the worst human being ever, and the Great Horn Rat. Excuse me. Thank all mentioned. I think with that being said, anything else anyone wants to add to the end of that?
Don't follow
Calling us the
chaos.
one
Praise the
correct
emperor, and you can go to heaven. Promise.
The Emperor, the false Emperor. To be fair, that could be a fifth chaos or sixth chaos god. Excuse me.
Four-armed emperor, best chaos god.
With
Best...
that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And Colin did make his bed, we swear. We'll catch you all.
And look at the cute dog.
It is. And
I gotta
Oh, that's
stop.
a
I gotta stop
DJB's
doing
picture
that.
right there.
God fucking damn it! I gotta stop doing that. That's gonna make an appearance.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next
Gave
one.
them all the
Thank you,
food
thank you,
in the
Tom
world.
Moore, for the $2 donation.
Thank
Stormfell
you.
turns
Thank you,
people
Tom
into
Warren.
fish people.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Love you guys. Love you a long time.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.